It's day 2 of the APAC playoffs. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We had an amazing day 1, already sending home 2 teams, though, both from South Asia. APAC North and APAC South, though, continue their rivalries. We've got a fantastic desk here. Guz, Dev, you're both looking great in your little floral shirts. It's cute, it's matching, I love it. I'll go to you first, Dev, though. Tell us your thoughts about how day 1 transpired.
Yeah, look, it was pretty good. I think a little bit disappointing for South Asia to have both of their teams go out first. Unfortunately, they dodged that in stage 1 thanks to Kira having that big upset over Cyclops. We were hoping for that once again, but they couldn't do it. I think a valiant effort from both teams. You know, the score lines are pretty grim. You look at that, 7-2, 7-4 in the BO1 upper bracket and then into the lower bracket, both 2-0s. But I think that they can still be proud of coming in, giving it their best shot, and I know that they are improving over time. Unfortunately, coming last does mean they don't get any SI points for Stage 2, but I know they'll be back with a vengeance for Stage 3.
Yeah, outside of South Asia, I think it's probably fair to say that the upper bracket played out as we kind of expected, which was unusual considering that, of course, the first 2 rounds of the upper bracket are best of ones, and we thought that maybe that would lean in to some more unexpected results. But, of course, it was Damon Kia and Elevate to book that ticket to the upper bracket final. That best of 3 will be played tomorrow, the winner of which will qualify for Mexico. And in terms of the lower bracket, which we're following today, man, there are some pretty spicy matchups there. Best of 3, of course, and maybe we could see that Invictus and Fnatic rivalry once again if they win their first 2 games, or first game each.
Yeah, well, it's must-win territory now, of course, as we sort of bring our attention here for day 2 towards the lower end of the bracket. We save the upper bracket final, of course, for the final day tomorrow. So from here onwards, Dev, it's do or die. You have to win every single game and run the entire gauntlet if you are going to qualify for Mexico.
That's it, and we're at the point now, I think, where you start to look at these teams that are going to need to be eliminated, and you start to get a bit worried. It's like, wow, okay, these are definitely top teams. You can kind of imagine most of the remaining teams in the bracket actually making it all the way to Mexico. It's highly likely that we're going to have IG and Fnatic, facing elimination. At least one of them will have to be eliminated by the end of today. And of course, those are the 2 big names that a lot of people are talking about right now. But there's also a chance that they won't even make it to that second match that we'll be broadcasting today. Both of them have hard games. First up, I personally am just looking forward to seeing the continuation of this APAC South versus APAC North rivalry and see whether perhaps we can get some South teams up there into the end of the bracket to Mexico.
Yeah, that rivalry has been very, very exciting. And look, both of these matchups are going to be really, really tough. Both the Fnatic matchup off stream against whoever they're playing, because I completely forgot my head. Yeah, QC. And then the one that is on stream, FAV and Invictus, again, a really close matchup. That's the one we'll be covering. And honestly, Invictus and FAV, both teams had not terrible stages. Of course, they've made the playoffs, but neither of them were really standouts in their respective sub-regions. So it does make up for a really, really close matchup.
Let's draw our attention to this matchup, of course. It's our first game of the day on the broadcast. Invictus Gaming versus FAV Gaming. 2 very different storylines, of course, for Invictus, James. It's been a case of dead last or playoffs. They made it to the playoffs. Now it's a matter of how far they can actually go. Do you have them going all the way? Do you have them being a team that can go all the way and make it to Mexico?
I have given them the benefit of the doubt because we do have a lot of doubt, let's be honest. And I have put them as making it through today's matches. Of course, they're going to have to play 2 at maximum if they win this first game. But I can definitely see a world where they fall, and they may well fall here to FAV. Now, never have Invictus lost to FAV in the past, but there's a first time for everything. And, well, actually, that is reminding me, maybe way back in the day at, like, the APAC Paris Major qualifier, maybe they lost it. I have to double check that, but that's ancient history at this point. And this team is very much a bit fresh. Speakeasy's been firing on all cylinders. The addition with Joe seems to be working out well, replacing Ysera. But Invictus is just really inconsistent, and that is the greatest enemy. Their greatest enemy is themselves, and that mental fortitude that they really need to overcome in order to classify themselves as a dominant APAC team.
Yeah, and there is a very precarious win condition here for Invictus heading into this matchup. Outside of Hysterix, who's got an even 1.0 rating in the playoffs so far, Speakeasy is the only player with a positive rating on this roster. That said, it's a 1.81. That number alone in a single map is ridiculous, but that, of course, is across the 2 maps that they have played so far, he's top rated at the moment, which is absolutely ridiculous. So for me, heading into this matchup, Speakeasy, he's the player to watch. He has been now for quite some time. If he plays really well, we can expect him to carry and lift the rest of the roster if he is allowed to play his game. But if he has a quiet one here or there in this best of 3, then I doubt Invictus will be able to make up for that slack.
Their opponents for this game, though, of course, FAV Gaming, off the back of their best of 3 win over Kira Esports yesterday. The first map was close, of course, on Villa, went to all 15 rounds, but Chalet was very one-sided. It's spoken about, though, Speakeasy. I'll go back to you on this one, Michael. Number 2, if there's Speakeasy, then there's number 2. Is this going to be the battle of these two players that are at a crazy high level right now here in the playoffs? Plus 20 for Speakeasy, plus 26 KD for number 2.
Yeah, 51 and 25 for number 2 across 3 maps. That is just absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, outside of that, he also had an 83% cost, so he is being impactful, is being consistent. And just another stat to throw out there, 8 and 1 on the entry. So this guy just was not being killed yesterday. I don't know exactly how he was being allowed to do that, but we saw it was on Villa, for example, yesterday in their matchup, for example. He was literally just being able to run in, find picks, and I think that confidence was really flowing amongst him and the rest of the team. And unlike their opponents in Invictus, it has been a bit more of a consistent effort across the rest of the team. In fact, they have 3 players that are at least going positive. So just based statistically, FAV do look a little bit better heading into this matchup, but I still do have my doubts on this roster, considering that in Stage 2, again, they only managed to pick up wins against those teams that placed below them. So they're probably not one of the stronger North teams heading into the playoffs, but I mean, playoffs is just another beast, and yesterday they showed us that is the case.
Yeah, look, FAV have not had a great 2021 so far, even though they showed a lot of potential in 2020. They had some really good upsets and good games there. But I do keep coming back to the fact that, like, this is a roster that's actually been together for a really long time, and they have bounds and bounds of experience. You look at a player like Shin, who won the very first APAC finals way back in 2017. The first time we had an APAC LAN event, he played for Ainz. He captained that team. This is the continuation of that team. And I actually do have the stat from the 2018 Six Invitational Qualifier. These two teams played. FAV Gaming has the exact same roster, with the exception of Odin Miso now being their coach and number 2 coming in to replace him. So there's a little bit of history for you. And FAV Gaming actually went on to come second at that entire event, very close to qualifying for SI. And it's been a hell of a long time since Shin has played at an international event. I know he will be putting everything in to make sure he can go to the major in Mexico.
Speaking of Shin, of course, was not part of that first upper bracket round 1 matchup against Q Confirm, which they ended up losing. They had the stand-in. Maybe that was a part of that loss, as we already touched on that a little bit yesterday. At least having Shin back in is going to be doing wonders for FAV Gaming. Let's go to the map vetoes. Of course, it's a best of 3, so it's not quite that best of 1 where you get down to the final one. There's going to be a few bans, going to be a few picks, and it looks as if it's Consulate, Clubhouse, and Oregon, the decider. James, take it away.
Yeah, looking... I didn't see this video before, so just doing a bit of a fresh look now. Recent results, let's go Invictus first, right? So they're going to be facing FAV's Consulate. Obviously, FAV picked that. Now, Invictus recently actually won against Elevate on Consulate in a really important game. It was the APAC South game that qualified Invictus for this event. So that's a really strong stat for them. It's also a game that was really important for Elevate. If they had won that, they would have gone straight to Mexico rather than having to play playoffs. That's a really important stat there. Really ballsy from FAV to go for Consulate, even when there's a really strong recent example of Invictus's form on that very map. That said, FAV do have a really strong record in history as well on Consulate throughout the Japan League, mostly beating teams there, albeit in very close games. While they did lose, however, to Cyclops 7-1, they did, fortunately for them, beat actually Cloud9 in the APAC North League, which is quite an impressive stat.
Yeah, this is a pretty spicy veto because, yeah, Invictus don't have the best form on Clubhouse. They lost to Order in the regular season. You look at Oregon, for example, and FAV have struggled. They lost to Fnatic and Cyclops throughout Stage 2 of APAC North. They did allow it through against Kira, but that wasn't needed because they won that in a two-way fashion, so not really much to read into there. But I think on the balance of everything, it's a pretty well-balanced veto. I don't think any team has necessarily spindled their opponents to the extent that you might be able to achieve in a best of 3. And I think, again, it's going to be a real test of these teams' mettle. And honestly, that first map is going to set up this best of 3 really nicely. As Dev said, A pretty ballsy pick from FAV to take Invictus there. The only reason Invictus are here in the playoffs is because they defeated Elevate on that map. So very, very interesting decision.
I want to
If
ask
I can
Dev,
just jump in one sec. I was just going to say, to
okay,
summarize that veto, like, continuing on what you were saying, now I've had a chance to look, guys. Those first two maps, both of these teams' picks, are good maps for both teams, right? I think that these first two maps, Consulate and Clubhouse, are going to be really close. But it's Oregon where I think both of these teams have actually had fairly weak form.
well, this is going back to what I was about to ask you so that you could look smart, but the final map
Love to
ban
jump the gun.
was Villa. Now, that was by Invictus Gaming. As we've seen recently in the APAC playoffs, Villa hasn't quite been a good map for FAV. They lost to QC, and as we know, they got pushed to the absolute limits by Kira Esports. Do you think Invictus maybe should have let that one be the decider map, Dev?
Yeah, I guess tossing up between Villa and Oregon's a pretty tough one for Invictus. I think that Invictus is probably thinking about the game that they played against 7th Heaven in APAC South Stage 2, where they lost 7-2, and probably a bit scared, a bit frustrated with Villa. Maybe they've had poor scrim performance recently, and they're just not really vibing that map at the moment. So, look, I respect them, even though I don't see a lot of good necessarily from them on Oregon. Like, you know, they did beat Fnatic yesterday. We didn't watch that game, so I can't say too much. But yeah, look, it's I'm keen to see how it plays out. I think that these first two maps are going to be really, really exemplary showings of what these teams are capable of. And I can actually see it being done in two, but I can see it being done in two very close maps. I just don't know which team could win it. Like, feasibly here,
What's
I
your
reckon
prediction,
either
though?
team.
What's your prediction? Come on the spot. Give it to me.
I had written Invictus. I'm just going to say FAV. Honestly, like, after looking a bit more into them and like considering the fact that the game they lost yesterday, they weren't playing with their full roster. So I guess with Shin, they are undefeated so far in the playoffs. I'm going to go FAV.
Michael?
I don't know who Michael is, but yeah. 2-0 Invictus. I'm not liking the lack of faith here from Dev. It's a little bit disturbing. Don't know where his APAC South bias has gone. So incredibly disappointed. But no, in all seriousness, I do believe as well, very real potential of a 2-0 in this matchup. Invictus, if they play well on concert like they did against Elevate, I don't see any reason why they can't close this out in 2.
Invictus 2-1. I think it'll go to all three maps. That's us done on the desk, though. We're going to throw it back over. We're going to throw it over to your casters for the first time. Two up-and-comers. It is, of course, Raven and Manic.
Oh, God. Up and coming, I tell you what. I guess he's... Is he wrong in saying that? I mean, you know, his hosting ability... It's probably on par with our casting, which if he's calling us up and coming, I guess that's a bit of an issue, isn't it, Raven?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But I tell you what, I think the bigger issue on that desk is there was probably more flip-flops there than an Australian beach. Man, Dev just couldn't freaking make up his mind which one he was going to choose, but he's gone for the FAV Gaming prediction. I'm feeling Invictus. I'm not going to lie, I actually think they might go to 2-0.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Invictus are looking good coming into this one. FAV certainly showing us some good signs. It feels like it might be the number 2 versus Speakeasy matchup. Both of those players popping off on their respective rosters. And I honestly, I think this is the real hurdle, right? This is the step for FAV. If they beat Invictus here, I think a lot of the talk changes about this roster because we have always talked about them being a mid-table team. You know, them making it to the playoffs. Not going to say it was a shock necessarily, but it certainly wasn't as expected as, say, let's just throw Cyclops in there. I mean, they've made it straight to the major, but it does certainly leave a bit of room for questioning, and there might be answers here. And Consulate, I never know, Raven. I never know on Consulate.
Yeah, definitely. It is that kind of map that can be a little bit tough. But yeah, looking based on recent form, I really feel like this is probably more up Invictus's alley. So certainly has been a brave choice by FAV Gaming. I'm just looking at these bans. I really like this Lion from Invictus. We did see a lot yesterday. FAV Gaming lean on Lion really like a serious amount with their attacks. Nothing is going to ingrain or burn out the memory of their Lion roam clears on Villa yesterday. So I think that's just a really good target ban for Invictus. It's just going to force FAV to change up the structure of their attacks and maybe not rely on the Lion so much. Maybe we'll see a bit of Dockerby out of them. I don't know. I just think either way, it's really good to try and just throw your opponents off like that sometimes with those target bans.
All right. You've seen the 4-piece, Nomad, Maestro, and of course the Wamai to close things out on the banning phase. Any final thoughts before we get into this one?
No, I mean, nothing really dramatic with the remainder. Certainly know that Invictus do love a Maestro play. I mean, a lot of teams still really do because Maestro is quite a good operator, but that will be helpful for attacking because, you know, Maestro in particular, those Evil Eyes can be frustrating, especially in the garage defenses. Even those lobby press defenses, Maestro can be quite strong. So, yeah, it does change things up a bit there.
Said maybe the Dockerby, and it has been shown. Now, I do like that from Luna. In the actual pick phase, we saw him kind of toy with the Clash, obviously showing the Kaid, then swapping back to the Clash may kind of insinuate that it could be a basement defense, I guess.
Yeah.
And it might have... Look, it may well have just completely thrown Razor out there. Okay, Razor. So... let's see how this one plays out, though. I do just... every time I see Clash on Invictus, it kind of terrifies me. Luna has been a bit of a nutter on that one.
He has. No, he's really a pest to the attackers when he's on the Clash. Just in general, Luna is certainly one of the most gifted shield players I've seen in Siege. He just really does a great job with it, and you can see his teammates really make plays off of it. I'm trying to remember whether it was Speakeasy or Hysterics that we saw yesterday or recently APAC South. It all kind of blends to one. But they got absolute like nutty 2 or 3 Ks, multiple rounds in a row, just facilitated by Luna's info from the Clash.
Yeah. Certainly look out for that key point, and as that time starts to tick down, especially if we see like an admin take, meeting is just so hard to contest when you've got a Clash in your face there. So, and it looks like that's Luna's certainly going to be showing face across to admin, so regardless of the 6th pick, it will be well and truly spotted, if not in the prep phase. And as we start to get underway here, do wonder for FAV. Okay, Shin's not really going to waste any time in actually taking admin control whatsoever. So, regardless of the face check, FAV have done a good job of getting in there early.
Yeah, and even just a good job from Shin to stay on the desk. I mean, I'm not sure if they knew exactly that there was the Valkyrie below, keeping an eye on that camera or not. I think the camera was lit up as he shot it, so just a general good dodge, because now Hysterics has burned his C4. His vertical play is really not at all relevant. He's going to have to bail, and this is just really swift map control here from FAV in towards admin. As you said, though, they are going to have to try and deal with Luna in metal. It really is going to be a difficult thing to deal with, but the fact they're giving themselves a lot of time to do so is going to help a lot.
It kind of, I mean, I'm just going to say, kind of feels like they have watched Invictus's last match against Elevate the final playday, because the way they're swiftly approaching this site with just haste kind of scares me a little bit for Invictus. They've been pushed back into a corner. Now, this could just be a default setup for FAV, you never know. I mean, I haven't really been able to watch much of their second floor attacks on Consulate, but certainly this could be something that may cause Invictus a bit of struggle. But the fact of the matter is, a minute left, and there has not been a single piece of contact here from either team. 5 players on site turtling for Invictus is going to be a little bit tricky for FAV to deal with, especially with a Clash in your face.
It really is, and also now that these smoke babes are starting to come in play, it just continues to deny access here. Now there is the meeting player at least giving this call out. Oh, okay, in deep. They're just going to start to really push through. KRez is going to get deleted by Joe. IG just stand up to the challenge here, Manic. 2 versus 5. It is falling apart swiftly for FAV.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter that Joe's got the triple kill. The way that Invictus had played that out was utterly perfect. FAV had put themselves in a decent position. What do you even do? Well, like, I feel like that was a bit of a last resort play at the minute mark, Raven. You know, it was literally just a full send in from the balcony. And, I mean, not only are you trying to get past Luna, who is slowing you down that entire way, like, you can see him, you know where he is, but also there's so many lines of sight open. They've got to deal with the players that are still in Printer. They're still got to deal with Long Desk, and also, it just, that felt really disjointed, I'm not going to lie.
It did a little bit. I think it was a bad call to go the yeet. Like, you have to deal with the Clash if they're going to do so, because one thing to think about with the speed debuff as you're getting shocked is swinging on your opponents is no longer anywhere near as effective as it normally would be. I mean, the whole point of the swing or be swung ethos is like you're approaching it with pace, you're kind of taking Pika's advantage, and you're trying to catch your opponents off guard. If you've got a Clash calling out your position and electrifying you to slow you down, it completely negates the entire edge of that. So they were really relying on a disadvantaged gunfight or 2 to go their way. Yeah, I don't think it was a great call, but look, you got to try something sometimes. They'll hopefully see that that doesn't work.
Maybe. Maybe we'll see more of the same. I highly doubt that. I mean, look, at the end of the day, first round in, maybe Invictus aren't prepared for that. Maybe Luna's caught, looking in two places at once, and they do catch it out. You did see a player sprinting to long desk, so, I'm only going to theory craft here, but it might have been able to catch out Luna had he been a little bit more toward the unreinforced side of where that long desk player was coming from. Regardless, though, as we head down the basement now, it is all about how FAV approach this. Now, I mean, there's pretty much no point bringing any wall denial when you do have the Thatcher in, and you're going to see that right now. Invictus, they've got nothing to deny. I mean, maybe an impact, not even an impact grenade. So there you go. They're just going to be playing for the late game here.
Yeah, look, and that's definitely a call you can make sometimes as a team. You know that a lot of that wall denial is probably going to get taken off the wall here, so you may as well just try and pick a different op to get aggressive or deal with something slightly differently. I thought that maybe Joe might even play the mirror on the garage wall, because we've definitely seen that from Invictus Gaming before. They love to play some pretty cheeky mirror spots, especially on aggressive walls, but not to be here. And of course, FAV have identified that that wall is free. Getting it open straight away is going to put a lot of pressure back onto IG. Now you can see with those outlines, 4 FAV players completely stacked around the garage. I definitely wonder whether they're considering just the early yeet here.
I mean, somewhat it would actually be ill-advised compared to where the rest of Invictus are. You've got Jordan, who is sitting on the Warden, that'll be able to see through any of the smokes that you decide to place, which of course K-Razor does have. And then you've got Luna sitting all the way back with those smoke canisters that are going to be able to deny any plant at the back of White Van. It's a bit of a risky call if they were to send it. And you can see how methodical FAV are being here. Their early round setups, Raven, you got to say, actually quite decent. They're really putting the pressure back onto Invictus and ensuring they have nothing for free. It's just when push comes to shove that we need to see them tidy up.
Yeah, here it is. He has just gone in deep, but K-Razor got pretty heavy tags in the initial push, and this is where it starts to get tricky. I mean, look at the time, just under 1:20 now. FAV have not really done a whole lot to progress the push other than open garage, and you have to make it move, and Type 1 has found that opening. They've still tried to go deep. IG are all over it. It's just, I'm not sure this is ever going to have a world where it works out for FAV unless they really hit some serious, beautiful shots to give themselves a man advantage.
Just from the outline, it kind of looks like Hysterics is trying to push down yellow here, and he might catch a player that's watching and waiting. That he does! Does he find a second? Hysterics with the heroic flank down yellow. That has just completely turned the round, regardless of whether FAV had any favor in it. It definitely felt like things were starting to get a little bit too uncomfortable for them. With 30 seconds left, Raven, there's just no chance.
Very tough, but tell you what, Afro in particular is quite a nutty player for FAV. Type 1 certainly also by his own rights, but yeah, they've got a tough ask. They're just going to hard push Hysterics here. Feed him the quad for the round. He closes it out. And that was a seriously good round there from Invictus Gaming. But also, I'm going to say, I don't know about the call from FAV again on that one there, Manic.
Yeah. Again, it just, I mean, look, this is the thing, and I will always put my hand up and say, I'm not a great analyst. I don't understand the game on that micro level like most do, but there is no doubt in my mind. FAV start well. The first minute, they're very explosive. They burn utility from Invictus. They push them back. They gain space that they can use. However, things are just falling to pieces before, really that phase 3 comes in, which is that final minute. You saw it there. Hysterics on a flank. No one's watching that flank really. It by all means, it looked like whoever was on the Yana had absolutely no idea that he was on yellow. Number 2, I think it was. It's getting a bit dicey here for me, Raven. You don't want to give Invictus the first map because, after all, this is FAV's map pick, and the desk was saying it. I don't know whether this was the best map to take Invictus to.
Yeah, definitely. I know. When I saw the map video flash up, I was definitely questioning some of the decisions, and I mean, I still feel like I am after these first 2 rounds. Questionable decision with the just quick push into meeting in round 1, and now I guess the thing that I'm really questioning about what FAV did in that last round was it looked like they really did want to just do the quick push, but they didn't hard commit to it. They tried to be thorough and careful. Yeah, fair call. But once they actually tried to go in, they were pushed right back out by IG and just very slow to adapt to that. So in general, it just kind of feels like this is either a FAV gaming that's in a state of still kind of warming up a little bit, or maybe they just aren't as comfortable and consulate as maybe they thought they were?
Yeah. I mean, really, it has felt like for FAV that, you know, number 2, I'm not going to say by any means number 2 has kind of dragged them through the mud, kicking and screaming, but he certainly has been a highlighted player and has really been stepping up, which is for Invictus. I mean, you can make the exact same comment for Speakeasy. He hasn't done a single thing so far in terms of any kind of kills. However, he has been impactful in the utility usage. But right now, you're looking at Joe, you're looking at Hysterics. This is a very scary prospect if you're FAV. And I mean, this is where you need to get a move on. You really don't want to let Invictus go around the world, take all first 3 sites. It would be quite detrimental. Only the first half of the first half, so it's still in that place where it hangs in the balance of FAV's performance.
Yeah, they really do need to kind of pick it up a little bit, but I don't know, they've still got plenty of opportunity. 4 rounds and a half remaining. Starting to take this admin control and get vertical down below, but they've got Joe in meeting in the way. Going to be a little bit difficult to flush out, but they've got some players in really good positions here to try and facilitate a pinch. But IG also have backup, so it is going to take a bit of effort to get this done.
Joe just managing to get back behind the shield, and now this is getting a little bit awkward for him. I think he's got support from Con, so the longer, I feel like the longer that FAV continue to burn into this, Luna gets into a position and Jordan manages to find the pick, very quickly traded out by Afro. A minute left, and right now, is that Diffuser out on balcony? I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is, Manic.
Oh no.
Or is it in meeting? Can't quite tell exactly where that is. It's a bit awkward, but either way, oh yeah, it is on the balcony. There you go. That is not going to be easy to recover, especially with 40 seconds to go. They're going to have to either get a move on or just hard push these frags. But IG is still very well spread out and very well positioned to back each other up. Joe in particular, he's still hanging out in this meeting behind the shield. He's just going to sit here and absorb these flashes all day long. And with less than 30 seconds to go, Manic, Fav, time to get the skates on. Number 2 starts to kick it off.
Oh, they've gone all in on that top floor. Luna's bought them a little more time, but that is the kill that FAV were looking for. Now, they still don't have Diffuser. They're getting it right now. 10 seconds left to get this down with Jordan taking down number 2. It could have been detrimental, but it's all on the Speakeasy, who has to go massive. That's a nice pick. And now in the 2v1, what can he hit? Not again. Speak of his name. Taipon has dropped to half HP as well. Speakeasy, he is right on the verge! What an unbelievable play from Speakeasy. The 1v3 clutch to give Invictus a third on the trot. That is incredible.
I can't recall Speakeasy losing any of these clutches in stage 2 or something like that, Manic. It's absolutely incredible that he just manages to pull these situations out constantly. Credit to FAV Gaming, they looked like they were in an absolutely unwinnable position with about 40 seconds to go. That diffuser was always going to be tough to recover from the balcony. And the fact they managed to do so while finding the picks and actually getting it to a position to plant, look, I think that was quite impressive, but Speakeasy just had to double down on the impressiveness of that round and just ensure that he still had the spotlight at the end.
Wow. It's just insane because you kind of felt like, I have no idea who was the last remaining there for FAV, but you felt like the crosshair placement was perfect on the other side of the circle. Like, you did not think there was a chance that Speakeasy could find that kill. Mind you, all in a day's work, all with the SMG-11. I'm pretty sure all headshots as well. Like, it's just utterly horrifying what this man can pull out. And right now, if you're FAV Gaming, man, your back is up against that wall. What do you do? How do you respond to something like that? Now, this is a FAV timeout, which you have to make. You have to make this work. This next round, I can't stress how crucial it is for FAV to win.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a great call to go for the TAC timeout right now. And they look like they are prepping for all kinds of scenarios right now. They've got Afro on the Nook. They're going to do a real late 6 pick to Habana. So I feel like they've read into the IG bait again, trying to make it look like it's going to be Garage, especially by showing that Kaid. But looks like they haven't quite fallen for it, 'cause that 6-pick to Habana makes me think that they're not thinking that this would be a Garage attack.
I really hope that they had read into the fact that it's not Garage, considering Invictus won it in the second round. You know, like, the way that they'd picked into that then, Raven, kind of looked like they had. You know, like, that's the crazy thing is FAV, you know, the Thermite really is only brought on Garage. So...
Not gonna lie, it baited me, so thank you.
Hey, you never know. You never know. Maybe it was enough to bait FAV out. And I guess, you know, the tactical timeout as well probably brings a certain amount of discomfort or maybe even miscommunication, because you're trying to talk about what is going wrong and where you're trying to fix things. And, you know, you really, a minute in the scheme of things is a lot of time to sit back and talk, but it's also nothing, right? You get through maybe 1 point and all of a sudden you're in trouble. And we as commentators know that best, Raven. You can't stick for a minute on one topic like I am right now. Unless, of course, it's the start of the round, in which case you can.
It's a free game then, but
yeah,
no, I feel you. Looks like a pretty similar method here from IG. Again, the C-Force is going to be a bit of a waste there from Hysterics. And Fav's doing a great job to deal with that. Now, guess what we're going to be looking for here, Manic? It's going to be Fav to not just rush straight through meeting into the clash.
hopefully not.
Really curious to see how they decide to deal with it this time, because they have gone pretty much the same kind of push. Oh, the timing on this nade from
bang.
Shin. Oh, that's pretty unfortunate. If he was just holding that angle normally, that would have been GG for Hysterics.
Who, mind you, is having quite an incredible game. 5 kills in as little as 3 rounds, and might have been able to put him, at least send him to the bench for this round. Now, once again, Fav just setting up there. Seems to be a comfortable approach for this meeting console take. And again, Luna's back up against the wall in meeting. I couldn't imagine how hard this would be to deal with. I mean, like, I know how frustrating it could be in ranked or even a casual match dealing with a clash, but coming up in this kind of a situation where Invictus have such a strong and confident hold, oofed.
Absolutely true. Oh no, the self-stun from a teammate must have accidentally thrown it into the back of Shin. Not sure whether he ended up throwing that grenade or not. I think he's pulled it back into his pocket. No, actually he did throw it. Oh, hasn't quite worked out. Luna is still being a pest at the meeting door. Now with a minute to go, this is where it gets very testing for Fav. How are they going to adapt to this? They've got a player starting to repel meeting balcony. Got a couple players around meeting, but without getting these Habana pellets on, it's going to be so hard to push Luna out of this corner, and Joe is here to back it up and try and shoot them off.
And like, the only way you can contest Joe right now from where Fav are is to straight up peek this, and maybe might be able to do something. You could see the player on top of Spiral was looking to do just that. Shin has opened up a massive opportunity here to take control, but has he been taken down? It doesn't matter. Luna's gone down in the meantime, trying to hold and support. Oh, it's chaos for Fav, but they are thriving in it. Hysterics and Jordan now to clutch up big, Raven.
And you know they can, but at the end of the day, Afro, he's in sight. He's going this plant down right now, Manic. Hysterics is ready to pounce, but post-plant situation.
Waiting for the right timing here. Hysterics getting into position. Jordan needs to get a move on and start to pinch at the same time. Hysterics being hard watched by the player in meeting. It's Afro, perfect nade, but it's just going to force him back for a hot second. Jordan finding the pick on the number 2. Surely they can't make this possible again. That's big from Typon, who's holding out on the rappel. My goodness, if Hysterics wins that fight, I don't think there's a chance that Typon can deny that. So, monstrous there. Monstrous.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing when I saw that Typhon was still on the rappel. If Hysterics had striked, which I feel like that was his go code. Once he found out that there was the rappel player in console windows, he was just like, "Yep, I'm picking this." And you're right. If he'd actually won that gunfight, that could have been another clutch for IG. But not to be. We can celebrate Fav. They did a really good job adapting of some really great aggression from Shin at the top of Spiral there. Yeah. That really did facilitate the opening they needed. So good adaptation from Fav, and good to see them get around on the board.
It's a really good point. I mean, had Shin not have been able to push that far, I don't think that you get Luna out of position there. By the looks of it, they had mute jammers on the wall that was denying the Hibana from trying to rip those pallets out and displace Luna that way. So, you know, all things considered, that may well have been the entire linchpin, right? Just that one single kill, pushing in the bathroom, it causes a bit of chaos, it causes a bit of concern. And they kind of leg it. Now, we are going to see Archives and Tellers for the very first time. I love this from Invictus. Mainly because you would just expect them to either reattempt or go to basement here. You would not think in a million years that they would go to Archives. So I'm a little bit worried here for FAV, but no doubt they'll have their setups and they'll be more than ready for this one.
Yeah, well, to the point that we were kind of talking about in the last round when I got a little bit debated in Obselect, K-Razor has gone for the Thermite, and yeah, on console, traditionally, you know, the Thermite is most useful on the garage attacks. So I don't blame them for trying to think this is garage. It probably normally would have been, right? But this is a good call from IG to just change it up a little bit and keep FAV on their toes. And yeah, I'm really curious to see how FAV deal with this and how they adapt, because the setup looks like a tricky one to deal with from IG. Like, if you're trying to get this vertical control, there's a Rooney Gates, and there's so much intel gathering to assist this defense.
It's kind of more talking about the bamboozling pick than I was actually the setup. You're 100% right. It is going to be quite a lot for them to deal with. And once again, I just don't think that you can afford to go to Archives Tellers without that pulse. It's just such an impactful operator to have. Get so much information. Hysterics, that's filthy, man. The 1 second that it looked like K-Razor was not looking onto the balcony, and he capitalizes and gets away cheerfully. Oh, God.
It's just kind of stacking up a little bit, but Joe's in a very tricky situation. I don't think he can get out, and Shin is just going to catch him off guard there on the quick peek from admin, so at least FAV have managed to find one back. And it's funny, when Hysterics got that run out, oh, that's dirty from Luna. When Hysterics got that run out, I was like, oh yeah, FAV haven't been taking Nomad. It reminded me that Nomad's banned.
Yeah.
But guess who banned it? It was FAV.
Yeah.
So their best counter to a player like Hysterics, they actually banned themselves, but just like that, Manic, Shin is just all on his lonesome.
This is just a clinic from Invictus. They are really showing us how to approach this site, and unfortunately FAV have not really been able to catch anything out here. Maybe Shin might be able to bring it back into a 1 versus 3, but it doesn't look like Invictus are going to continue to peak this, not isolate those 1v1 duels. They're trying to swing at the same time. This is dangerous. Shin now pulls out the primary. That's at least 1 down, 3 to go. Surely this isn't doable.
I mean, he did get Luna pretty low. Luna's essentially one shot at the L8, so, I mean, he could definitely win a 1v2 scenario. He's still got 40 seconds, bit of time. Needs to land these shots, though, and actually finish this off sooner rather than later here.
Oh
no, Shin.
Goodness, Shin. The shots through the wall are just not connecting. He's so unlucky. And that should be to his own demise. Hello? Oh, that's filthy!
Jeez.
Jeez Louise, he nearly hits the flick onto Jordan as well. I mean, that was spiraling out of control. I'm not going to lie, Raven. For a second there, I was starting to believe that storyline. I was starting to believe that Shin was going to do that. There were 2 near misses on the shots through the wall, just not connecting. But that is just such a massive round from Invictus. You know, a 4v1 that they put themselves into, and boy, did they really take FAV to town.
Yeah, they did. They really did expose that FAV were maybe just a little underprepared for that rounds in particular. So yet again, great call from IG to continuously change this up. And again, they haven't gone back to Garage. They're just continuing this debate. FAV have hard stuck the Maverick and Thermite. And for console and meeting room, it's not going to be that helpful. I mean, Thermite could try and breach the meeting wall, but you actually have to stand at that wall to place the exothermic charge. That's not going to be easy. Luna is still on this clash, so they're going to have to either deal with that wall, or maybe it's about time they try and switch up the push and do a yellow stairs CO kind of push.
Well, Hysterics has missed 2 C4s on the early round play, so maybe it's 3rd time lucky for him over by Study. It's usually, I believe it was whoever was playing the sledge. It's kind of them always leading the charge here. I mean, this is a bit of a spicy lineup from FAV. And the fact that, you know, like number 2 is on that Capita. I genuinely think that FAV can really make something work here with that Capitao. It just brings so much utility that may actually just be able to single-handedly shut Luna out, at least for a plant, maybe to gain some space on site. But the biggest thing here is them capitalizing on that.
That's exactly right. And look, it still looks like they want to get this admin control, and Hysterics is yet again primed and prepped with this C4. He wants to try and make this one land. This is going to be another duel to take admin control on the 3rd attempt of attacking it.
And very quickly, of course, we have a game off-stream, which is Q-Confirm and Fnatic, that is currently going the way of Q-Confirm. 4-0 up on Chalet, which is their map pick. So we'll keep updating you as that match goes on. But for now, as we look back to this game, back to this matchup, Invictus are really starting to show their prowess on Consulate. And Raven, you do just have to wonder, this South-North storyline, goodness me.
I mean, yeah, look, so far looking pretty decent for South, but we'll wait and see whether they can close out both of the current ongoing BO3s. At the moment, Invictus, as you said, they really are. It feels like they are just running rings around FAV on this map. And right now, FAV just look a bit stuck. I don't think they're fully able to decide how they want to approach meeting, because again, they're not set up for it very well in their op select, because they got absolutely baited on the site selection by Invictus. And I think that just again points to another strength that Invictus has had in this matchup. This C4, it finally lands. Taipon, though, only downed, not eliminated.
We did say 3rd time lucky finally comes about. And now just look where Luna is. He's going to allow Hysterics to get back to site. Hysterics takes one with him as well, coming up the staircase. He now has that control of the admin long site. This is dangerous. And just like we said, there's the Capitao starting to put a little bit of pressure on Luna, but there's no one there to capitalize. And I believe that was 2 of the bolts that he's being used now.
Yeah, he can just continue to step around, and so does Hysterics. He continues to step around the attacking positions of FAV. He's got them down to this 3v5. Number 2 has stepped up here to answer back. Does keep it just within reach, but with 30 seconds to go, Manic, very minimal site presence from the attackers. This is going to be a tough execute.
Joe's watching long desk as well, so Luna only has to worry about balcony and the entrance from admin. He is absolutely cruising right now. Joe does go down. This makes things a little bit more interesting. It's starting to become a little bit unraveled here for Invictus. You can see the peaks coming through. That's big. Luna gets caught off guard as push comes from long desk, and somehow, some way, FAV fight back to ensure a 4-2 first half.
Yeah, just a couple of really small errors from Invictus kind of cost them that round, but credit to FAV. Look, they did a great job to bring that back, because it seriously looked lost for a lot of that round. It just didn't look like they were going to be able to find the openings they needed. Now, there was that team kill, in fact, onto Luna, so getting that clash out of the way definitely helped. It all happened in the last couple of seconds. It was smoke damage, so he just was taken low by the thermite from what it looked like, and just unfortunately the smoke plume ended him. But is what it is. Still a very strong half from Invictus. It's very representative of this match. I could easily say that Invictus are firmly in control, at least from what we saw in that first half.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
You do have to say that that last round from FAV is really quite large, all things considered. You know, that is a big round that they needed on the board. Now, as we have a look back at the Stage 2 results, it is massively, massively one-sided for APAC North. 74% of all overall rounds go to the defensive side. So headed into this half, I think they'll be really happy knowing that they do have the favor here. Whereas the thing is, for, you know, when we look to the APAC South, it's not as skewed, right? It's nowhere near as blown out of proportion. It's 58% overall. And I really do wonder for FAV here, like, how good is their defense going to be? You are coming up against Invictus, who are good on this map and have shown that their attacking is just as good as their defensive side. A little bit worried here. Bang! Oh my god, that's not good.
That is not good. And look, I don't know if that was actually a spawn peek attempt or not. I think it was, but yeah, look, I don't blame FAV for trying to be aggressive or anything like that, or trying anything, really. Always good to do so when you're down. And there it is, Afro with an aggressive peek from the bottom of Visa Stairs. Takes out Jordan. That is certainly going to help taking the sledge off the board, on top of the fact Jordan's actually having quite a bit of a banger. So good answer back from FAV at least.
That it is. Now, Invictus start to get into a little bit more of position. However, they've got two players to deal with over toward lobby. It's Afro. I believe that was K-Razor, who is making his way to Piano. So there you go. What Joe. The quick peek around the corner. No information gained, but with 1:40, I mean, Invictus have so much to play with here. They still have the thermite up. They'll be able to get those garage walls open, put the pressure back onto FAV on their defense. And with Joe taking control of Piano, this is looking pretty concerning, I gotta admit.
Definitely some really good progress here from IG. As you said, they've kind of set themselves up pretty well to be able to make something happen. Still having that thermite on the board, very crucial to be able to open that garage. But they did lose the sledge, so the verticality and the ability of what they can do with piano control certainly going to be hindered a little bit. Thankfully for them, though, they have 6 breach charges and the secondary shotty on gridlock. So I think they still have plenty of backup plans. And yeah, look, this is looking quite good from IG, but less than a minute to go now. They're going to have to start progressing this just a little bit further.
I mean, with garage wall open, it essentially allows, with it still closed, it allows FAV to just play so freely on those vertical lines. I'm kind of surprised that Invictus haven't at least opened it up and put the pressure onto them just yet. That's why they needed to get rid of the mute jammer that was on the garage wall, which number 2 is now going to start to open. Oh, not number 2. He's going to try to go for an early C4. We'll say that. In it comes, but it's not going to connect because Luna's out of there. 20 seconds, Raven. My God, where's this round gone?
Yeah, it has dissipated really quickly, and the aggression is punished by Luna. That is fantastic for him to counter that peak. And right now, number 2, very important position. He gets a big pick. 10 seconds left, Manic.
Yeah, there's no one putting pressure on him. Where are Invictus? They're starting to push in, but it's too little too late. What does Shin have? It's Speakeasy that trades, but he can't get any more done. Fav with a solid hold. Invictus just run out of time, and they're left scrambling to try and find the picks.
Yeah, they did just leave a lot of that a little bit too late. I mean, they did a really good job with the early and mid round. Just very unfortunate they did lose Jordan. I mean, that was a really good trade back from Fav. I think it was Afro from memory that got it. It ended up being really critical, I'd say, in the grand scheme of things. It did end up slowing down IG's progression, obviously, and also Jordan being a bit in form at the moment in this game. It did take a bit of fragging power off the board. So yeah, we did see a lot of it happen last minute. And just some really important positionings that were held strongly by Fav, in particular number 2 on the side of White. I think just the aggression that he had around that main garage wall did really help just stunt that final part of Invictus's push.
And you know, you got to remember, yes, we did see the sledge go down very early, but we still had 6 breaching charges that could have opened up some of those vertical lines, maybe put the pressure onto the player at White Van, which was number 2. Maybe number 2 just hears the breaching round and just, well, not breaching round, sorry, the breaching charge and just legs it. Maybe you don't even see him try to contest after that point, but regardless, right now, you know, Fav would be very happy with the way that they've started that one. And now it's all about, what do Invictus have? How do you bounce back from something like that? Not that it was so detrimental. You still had so many positive moments in there. And surely, like Fav, you know, we saw that in the first 2 rounds of their attacks. First 2 minutes looked pretty clean. Not gonna lie, they were doing really well on getting the control that they needed. And then it kind of spiraled a little bit. So maybe we're gonna see similar signs here from Invictus, but we won't just hold on to hope like that. Straight off the bat, we'll wait a couple of rounds at the very least here, Raven.
Yeah, interesting to see Teller's Archives come out at this point in the defense's rotation, but do like it. They're going to use these X-Kairos to make a breach onto garage wall, so they've got access this way. It is mostly going to be this garage push across from IG. They're not going to do what I would say is probably the more meta attack, which is clear out admin, get vertical, try get plant intellers. At least based on these early positions, that's not what it looks like.
What I find interesting is Fav kind of, I guess you either opt for the Valk or you opt for the Pulse here. And I guess they're more comfortable with the Valk.
Bomb located by attackers.
6 and 1 if you are comfortable with that, that's completely fine. And now Invictus are kind of already into Garage, getting a fair bit of control from that west side across. So Fav just, they will need to be a little bit cautious here with all their players up on the second and first floor. I think it's just Shin who's down below. Right now Invictus are doing a really good job at spreading their attack and kind of isolating ones, just not over-peaking as of yet.
A bomb has been located.
I think it's just going to be very important in general. If Fav can just continue to have men up on the board, then they're going to look deadly towards the execute phase. Now, just carrying into the final minute, Invictus have started to push closer and closer in towards objective. Really curious how they are going to finish off this push because they haven't really destabilized many of these site positions. Shin, in fact, is the only one in the basement, but of course there's a lot of quick drops down to site. You have to be careful though, because if you're trying to retake Garage, 2 hatch drops are pretty easy to watch. Of course, there are 2 stairwell entrances to watch, but at the end of the day, that nade could have been huge from Jordan.
He almost needs to follow up the second he throws that nade. And look at Shin, he's peeking aggressively right now, kind of a little bit of an off angle outside of the door frame. Jordan wasn't expecting it, so he gets tagged up in the slightest amount, but that's a big pick. That's Shin, who was the player on site, and just like that, Invictus collapse. And Fav, they cannot hold the weight. It is only number 2 left. 20 seconds to find all 5 or deny the plant. The kit's down in, at the very least, a position the number 2 can hold, but not for much longer. Hysterics coming down the Visa stairs will deal with him handily, and that is a solid, solid round from Invictus.
It really was. They just did such a great job taking their time and just really surrounding the setup that Fav had. And once they kind of hit the go button, they just did it beautifully. It came down to that 1v5. It was always going to be tough to be able to be brought back from that point for Fav. So yeah, Invictus, that's a really good answer back. And 2 rounds now separates them from taking this map. It's starting to get very deadly here for Fav. They really need to get this next round because otherwise they're staring down match point and they're going to have to get 3 consecutive rounds to save it, which obviously they haven't been able to do this entire game.
Unfortunately, Joe has crashed, meaning that we will just be waiting for that wonderful human to join us. And, well, you can join us here in the caster cams. Raven, you do have to say, starting out, the fact that Fav is still in this, the fact that they're still so close to being able to turn this around, I think is a testament to, a couple of rounds that they've had. Otherwise, outside of that, Invictus have looked really sharp.
Yeah, look, definitely a testament to some of the adaptation that Fav has been able to do. But at the end of the day, I just can't look past that this was Fav's map pick. Like, they should be the ones in the lead right now. It's the whole idea of the veto system, right, is you should be choosing the map that you feel like you can 100% win, because in a BO3, obviously, it's more than just one map. You need to book in your own, and then you have to either obviously steal your opponents or get the decider. But at the end of the day, if Fav can't even win on their own map, it's a very dangerous position because, I don't know, I mean, again, in that theory, that means Invictus has done the steal part. They just need to win their own, and they've locked it away. Series is theirs. So, very deadly position for Fav. I'm sure they're starting to feel the pressure right now. I personally always felt once you see 5 on the scoreboard, that's the time, I wouldn't say panic, but it's certainly the time that pressure can really set in because your opponents are only 1 round away from match point, and then of course, 1 more round, they've got it.
And Invictus right now, it doesn't, it seems like they are quite composed. However, there is just this element to Fav that does scare me. From everything we've seen in the playoffs so far, there's this element of just any round, honestly, is hanging in the balance of literally maybe 1v1. You've seen it a couple of times where Fav have absolutely thrived in chaos. Now, that was more so on their attack. You think back to, which round were we talking about? I believe it was the meeting console, the second time around. So the 4th round right after their attack, it was utter chaos. The second Shin found that pick progressing up long desk, it just went bang. There was mess everywhere, and that's where FAV were almost their most composed, which is crazy to think. And even you look back to the first round of this half, Raven, it was quite similar. Last 20 seconds, Invictus are trying to force their way in, and FAV are cool, calm, and collected. I mean, that in itself kind of scares you. As long as Invictus kind of show us what they did in that round there in Towers, where they were able to suffocate and just surround that defense, it does feel like that they will remain in control. But I mean, that's just coming from a man that knows a little about Siege. You know, it's not really, that's not confirmed by any means.
No, I think you're relatively accurate there, Manny. But I think the biggest difference for me when I think about FAV of yesterday and the FAV of today so far, and of course we're only on the first map, but number 2 is having a pretty quiet one.
Yes.
And look, he's certainly allowed to have a quiet one. Every player does. But they played a lot of maps yesterday. Not a single one of them was he quiet on. In fact, he had over 50 kills across 3 maps yesterday.
Crazy.
Man was an absolute machine. So to see him not kind of performing to that degree today, I mean, I'm not surprised to see that it reflected on the scoreboard, because it just really was the impact he had yesterday. And he was, in fact, the second highest rated player for the entire day yesterday, only behind Speakeasy. And I mean, Speakeasy just went absolutely nuclear, as he always does. That's a bit unfortunate. But, you know, number 2, he had more kills. His entry stat was better than Speakeasy's at +7 as opposed to +4. Even his cost, number 2 had the highest cost for the entire day at 83%. That's unreal. So I don't want to put it all on one man. It's certainly a team effort. It's just, that's the difference I'm seeing compared to yesterday here for FAV.
And you know, like when you, I guess a better indication is not how a player plays on one day, but how they've played across, let's say, a season, for example. And number 2, by all means, was, you know, in and around the top 10 players from APAC North, but certainly wasn't performing to this kind of standard. So maybe it's kind of mellowing out here in Play Day 2 of our playoffs, and this is where FAV need to step up as a team overall. And as we come back into this game, they've had so much time to talk about this. And I mean, so have Invictus, there's no doubt about it. But as we look at, like, you know, where things have kind of gone wrong for FAV, I mean, that timeout seemed to have been, in the first round, seemed to have been a massive pivot point for them. They went on to win 2 of the next 3 rounds. And maybe this might just give them the time to mold things back over and kind of correct or right their wrongs, if you will.
Yeah, definitely was a good opportunity to talk things through for both teams, of course. But at the end of the day, FAV's the team that's behind, so they're the ones that, you could argue, they're the ones that have to take control of the game, and they have to try and turn this around. So whether that's through adaptation or, you know, just generally changing their playstyle. Wait and see. Really love the use of the studio gates on the CO windows here. It's going to just be an extra layer of something to coordinate, especially given that IG are doing this yellow side push as opposed to the admin push that we were seeing from FAV.
Oh, wow. Shin's so lucky to get away there. Kind of knows that he's stuck in no man's land at the moment, but it doesn't look like anyone's going to be putting the pressure on him. Surely not. Oh, the timing. Luna absolutely rips him to pieces as he comes through. Wow. Talk about a player trying to do his utmost to secure the round. Luna is forcing that fight to Con, slows down for a second because he knows that they're all in perfect position, but the flank from Afro is perfect. That's diffuser drop, but Invictus now know that there should only be one on site.
Yeah, it's about them rebounding here. Jordan looks like he's going to go in and recollect this diffuser. Now they really just have to be careful on this approach, because very quickly K-Razor and Afro could turn this on its head and still clutch this out. Invictus Gaming certainly in the driver's seat right now, though, to push this to match point.
Really smart from Invictus to slow things back down here. You rush in that moment, you give away another kill, it is 2-2, and all of a sudden, you're trying to pick up the pieces from a round that looked so positive. Now that positioning of the Yokai drone will be of the utmost importance, because it looks like the CEO take is exactly what Invictus are looking for. They've got 2 players out on the rappel. Jordan is over by Yellow Stairs, so it's actually Hysteric, sorry. Jordan has made his way across to CEO window, rappels in. Now the diffuser can go down.
They've got the info though, bulletproof camera, that gets denied. They had a Yokai in sight. Echo gets denied by Joe, all on Afro's shoulders right now. to save this. The C4 is going to miss. Big move from Jordan. Hysterics closes it out, and that is Invictus Gaming moving to match point.
Methodical, cool, calm, and collected. That is the best way to describe what Invictus have done there. They throw a little bit of magic at the start of the round, win a couple of ones, displace the members of FAV that were holding what we would consider pivotal moments. You know, yellow stairs, you try to hold that for as long as you humanly can. But Invictus, they just slow things down. The second they have that man advantage, they're not looking to try and force any fights. They're not looking to try and outplay FAV immediately. They get themselves into the perfect position and play from there. And right now, they are deservedly on match point. Mind you, on FAV's map pick. This is huge.
Defenders, protect your bombs from
Is
being
definitely
defended by
huge. And now FAV Gaming, they have to double the amount of rounds they've even got to this point just to save the map. Feels very unlikely if you ask me, but you never know. Certainly can happen. They might be able to dig deep here and just really muster up a fantastic comeback. But Invictus Gaming are just looking really good right now. They have certainly come to play today on day 2 of the APAC playoffs.
I guess when you look at it like this, you know, where I have been, not so much you, but I've been painting FAV in a bit of a negative light this game, purely from what we've seen. However, we have to remember that the first half could have finished 3-3 with, if not for Speakeasy's 1v3. So right now, this would be a 5-4 match, right? So it's not like, I think I've been writing them off a little more than maybe I should have, and certainly they've put themselves into a position where this is still doable, but I mean, it's the difference between the good and the great teams is the ability to close out games when you're ahead. When things are going well for you, it is all about making sure that you confirm that one. Because moving forward, I mean, Clubhouse, I don't really know what to expect on Clubhouse, I'll be honest, but certainly going with Invictus, you'd have to feel they're pretty comfortable here.
Certainly looks like it. So if they can maintain that comfort, I definitely think they can close it out. But look, a bit skeptical of what they did with Garage Cafeteria last time. Mainly just out of a stall in the mid-round, which was a bit strange because they had all the map control they needed. They just took a long time clearing the wall denial, which was just in the form of mute jammers. Same again for this round. And then by the time they got the wall open, it was just a little bit messy. They couldn't quite close it out. So look for them to tighten it up here, but FAV have a pretty extended roam on this top floor right now.
It's all about how Invictus decide to deal with this one. So far, it's been relatively quiet around the nooks and crannies, and again, a main point of contest will be getting into that first floor, securing lobby. They do so by starting to eliminate those flanks to begin with, and to be honest, that will force those roamers back sooner rather than later. Doesn't look like FAV are playing into it just yet.
Really like the patience from them, and right now, number 2, oh, I thought he was going to re-peek towards Circle Desk. Speakeasy was holding that pixel, would have been his death, but thankfully has avoided it. But man, again, 2 minutes gone. Invictus Gaming have started to progress here. They're going to get this wall open. It's going to put that pressure onto the defense. But this is really going to come down to what do Invictus Gaming do, what do FAV do with this flank opportunity. Do they still do it or not?
Open up the first side, and now the second as well. Joe may well play a bit of a pivotal role here as we see slowly and surely Invictus picking up the pace. But Raven, 30 seconds, and once again, it's going to come down to this 5v5.
It is, yeah. No damage done on either team right now. But IG have the vertical presence. They have Garage Wall open. They just need to hold the right angles and try and do this. But FAV have the denial. They have the opportunity. Here it comes, Manic.
Oh, huge shot from number 2. A moment to shine for yesterday's man of the match. And Joe is getting... Oh, Hysterics goes huge. Can Jordan support? It has gone down. The kit is out of the hands of Invictus. Just not being able to help his player there. That is so unfortunate. But what a round from FAV. Talk about composure. They've got it in bundles.
They do, and that is pretty unfortunate. Jordan had the chance to ice that for Invictus Gaming with that vertical. If he just denied even the throw or detonation of the C4, that would have been it. But unfortunately, that's just how it works sometimes. You miss shots, the other team will take opportunities, they get the rounds. FAV, though, they need to get 2 more just to save the map.
Guess that's the biggest problem here, Raven, is we have to go back to towers. We have to go back to that top floor. Maybe we see lobby. The decision right now is to go to towers. And I mean, 3 rounds in a row, but now 2 are going to have to come back to back for FAV here. It's certainly a tall order, but one that if they take it 1 step at a time, 1 foot in front of the other, they will be able to do. Now, very quickly, just to update anyone who may be wondering what the score is on stream, for Q-Confirm and Fnatic, it's currently 5 apiece on Chalet. Q-Confirm's map pick, and I mean, all things considered, Fnatic have made a massive comeback there. If you do want to check that one out, I believe it's twitch.tv/Rainbow6TW. So that's where you can catch that if you're wondering what that scoreline is. But here and now, with Invictus on map point, FAV have a huge uphill battle to fight.
They definitely do, because again, that last round, sure, FAV walked away with the victory, but Invictus Gaming were very close. They've been doing a great job with a lot of these rounds. It's just that FAV have been able to do what's needed to get by. It just feels like it's a matter of time, but sometimes that time can just fade away, and sometimes teams will come back. So look, we'll wait and see what FAV have in store. Right now, Invictus Gaming looks like they're changing their approach a little bit to this attack. Last time it was very much from the garage, a garage-heavy side push. They got 3 players over on the Visa admin side now, though, so maybe they are just going to go hard for the vertical here and try and push these FAV players out a bit earlier.
Patience certainly starts to pay off here for the attacking side, and oi, Speakeasy just getting off the rappel in time number 2, unfortunately not catching the timing. Now, Jordan's still watching that line straight through from Princess, so Typon needs to be a little bit cautious how he deals with this. Jordan's actually not watching it whatsoever, more so cautious of the run out. And FAV now in a man disadvantage. I mean, this is an awkward one to play for with no C4 either. Number 2's is gone, and the information, you know, there's no Valk, there's no Pulse, but Shin's doing a great job of bringing this back.
Great job from Shin there. Number 2 also jumping into the kill feed. This is going to give FAV a bit of an opportunity. It's really good trading from both teams here. 3 versus 3 coming into this final minute. This Gaming have finally cleared out this top floor, but where to from here? Still quite a few things in their way that they have to try and manage. Shin on site is one of them, and he hits a beautiful shot onto Hysterics.
That is nutty. Really puts FAV in the driver's seat for this round. They've got a player flanking up yellow stairs as well, which Joe needs to be cautious of. They hadn't taken out default. Oh, they're going to double up. This is massive from FAV. Both players caught on Spiral. This has to be confirmed here. Actually, it's not both players on Spiral. It's just one. Luna is all the way outside, picking up the diffuser. And in a 1 versus 3 clutch, FAV are bringing this back and making it possible. Ooh.
Oh. Yes, I mean, Luna could definitely clutch this. 2 players to find 30 seconds. Now, default up again. He's going to shoot that at least. Old info, but with 20 seconds, drops below Manic. Can Luna Metal make this happen for the map win?
He should definitely be able to get this diffuser down. He's got a smoke in the pocket, but he's just going to stick this. FAV, what is their response? Surely they will have some kind of information as to the placement. He's got to be careful of the first player. He deals with him. Goodness me! Not a 1v3 clutch from Luna to win the map! What a performance from Luna in the final round. Invictus take FAV's map pick away and go 1-up in the series.
Massive 1v3 from Luna to win that. That is just absolutely unreal. He's going to be happy with himself for that, and I think IG will generally be happy with themselves for taking FAV's map pick off them. Really great start to this series to them, and they are 1 step closer. and progressing deeper in this lower bracket.
Crazy, crazy times we live in here, Raven, and I mean, this is absolutely massive for Invictus. You know, now up in the series, cruising along. We go to Clubhouse next, and that could cause some chaos. Again, a quick update, because I'm kind of watching a little bit of the Fnatic game as well. Fnatic have gone to map point, so Q confirm, I believe that's nearly 6 rounds in a row that they've lost. I'll get confirmation on that, or at least I'm sure the host, our wonderful, you know, up-and-coming, aspiring host will. Raven, though, what a map. I mean, I honestly thought FAV were bringing that back.
Yeah, look, they really were. I mean, Lunametal just pulled out a bit of a freak 1v3. Look, it's hard to say whether you could blame FAV for that. I mean, there was certainly some overpicking happening from Visa, but it just gets to a point where sometimes some players will just pull out clutches. Lunametal played it perfectly. Once he got that pick in Visa, realized that he had control, he's just going to drop below. He probably had call from his teammates that the others were above, and yeah, he just played it smartly. You can't really say anything else about it. It's just a beautiful play from Lunametal and a beautiful map from Invictus Gaming. I think it's really tough for FAV to bounce back from this, but look, I wouldn't put it past them. I think they can. I just think it's unlikely.
Yeah, well, I guess that's not for us to decide now, Raven, because that's going to be us done and dusted for map 1. We're going to give it back into the capable hands of our analysts and our tier 2 hosts, so please enjoy what they have to offer.
What a sensational clutch, what a sensational game, sensational casting as well. Bit of a mediocre throw though, but boys, great start to the series, of course, for Invictus. It was getting a little shaky towards the end. Dev was sensing maybe a comeback from FAV, but Luna stops that one dead in its tracks.
Yeah, I don't know if I was ever fully convinced of the comeback, but yeah, really nice clutch there from Luna. It was funny sitting in the call with Guz. Yeah, I don't know if you want to take credit and pump up your ego a little bit, but as soon as it was that 1v3, you were like, he can win this.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 4K in the round because I'm pretty sure he got the opening pick as well, and then enters in towards Visa, gets the first shot, and when he drops, I was like to Dev, I said it with such conviction, Luna wins this, 5-5-6, 8-cog, so many cheese angles that you can hold on the retake, and he manages to pull it off. But taking a step back and looking at that game as a whole, Speakeasy, what a massive clutch from him. Overall, a little bit of a quieter matchup from him that we would tend to expect, but I think that was a testament to the rest of the team stepping up. We also saw Hysterics really fulfill that role of finding those picks that were required, and overall, they played a really good disciplined match.
Sorry, I'm just watching.
I'm watching it too. It's 1v2 right now for Producer Boom. Fnatic is planting on match point.
Oh, God.
Do you want to commentate this, Xenox? I know you're the host at the moment. Maybe you want to, return to your commentating roots.
Oh, well.
Oh, they did it!
Lusties just finished it off there. So Fnatic take map 1 against Q Confirm. I think, was it a 5-1 start for QC, Dev?
It was 6 rounds in a row.
What a little comeback there in the other match that is happening. Of course, we're going to go to a quick break. When we do come back, though, it is going to be more FAV versus Invictus.
So now you're here again, knocking at my door. A little too late for, I'm sorry for. The lights went out cause you kept cutting the cord, and I started to fade into your grave. I finally opened up my eyes, and I saw me coming back to life. That I'd be better without you inside. It's time to be someone I wanna recognize. The future starts right now. I made a reservation, but you never came, so I'm checking out. The fire you stole away, I know one day we'll come back around. The future is now. The future is now. The future is now. I waited for you in the passenger seat. There's only so far I can ride in your dreams. While you were chasing everything else but me, I'm starting to break out from your grave. See, I finally opened up my eyes, and I saw me coming back to life. That I'd be better without you inside. It's time to be someone I wanna recognize. The future starts right now. I made a reservation, but you never came, so I'm checking out. The fire you stole away, I know one day we'll come back around. The future is now. The future is now. I'm not backing down, 'cause the future is now. Not backing down, 'cause the future is now. The future starts right now. I made a reservation, but you never came, so I'm checking out. The fire you stole away, I know one day we'll come back around.
Welcome back from the break for the APAC playoffs. We are in the middle of this best of three in the lower bracket. FAV versus Invictus. Invictus with the perfect start, stealing the map pick away from FAV Gaming. Up 1-0 in this series. And Dev, and they need one more map.
They do, and it is their map pick as well that will be up next. Clubhouse, it's where they wanted to go, and honestly, I don't think they were too upset about going to Consulate as well. We've already prefaced that it was going to be a good map for them. It's where they booked their ticket to the playoffs by taking down Elevate in the APAC South regular season on their final play day. So we have a lot of reasons to believe that that would be a good map for Invictus. A little bit less info on Clubhouse, though. I think you mentioned in the pre-show, guys, that this is where Invictus lost to Order in the regular season 7-3.
Yeah, so an interesting form guide heading into this. We also don't really have a whole lot to go off in terms of FAV's form on this particular map heading in. But again, as we often say, it's a bit of a cliche at this point, but Clubhouse is a map that if you're good at Siege and you're well structured, Clubhouse is going to suit you. Invictus tend to be that team, so I'm sure they'll be looking pretty confident into this one. They'll be looking strong, and again, taking down FAV on Consulate, a huge boost to their mental. I mean, in hindsight, FAV probably really shouldn't have gone to Consulate, but look, that mistake has already been made, and now it's all the focus on this second map. Because, I mean, we have seen reverse sweeps before. Just because you win your opposition's map pick doesn't mean you've sealed the deal. Still a long way to go.
Yeah, it does give them, of course, the the favors chance. They've only got to get 1 from 2, whereas, of course, FAV have got to get 2 from 2, being both Clubhouse and Oregon. Dev, do you think that this match or this series is over? Are you thinking Invictus are just going to run away with it now on their map pick? Do you sense they've got that momentum to finish this off?
I don't have enough statistics on the map to say that I'm confident. Like I'll have a lot of negative results on Clubhouse for Invictus, so that does color my judgment a little bit. But my gut tells me that Invictus is the better team here. And I think that it's the better team overall that will win Clubhouse, not necessarily the better Clubhouse team that will win this map. So yeah, I do think Invictus is going to take this probably 2-0. I don't want to count FAV out yet. Like, I think they're a good team. They looked a little lost on a lot of their attacks though, even though they were able to exploit a little bit. So I guess we will see. I'm definitely going to go with Invictus though.
Gee, flip-flop Stewart over here. How many times is that you've changed your prediction now? What,
At least three
times?
or 4. It's for the storylines, bro. For the storylines.
Yeah, no, keeping it exciting. I respect that. But no, in terms of my prediction, I'm still going to back Invictus heading into this one. Unlike you two, I have faith in APAC South, and as I often say, they are the stronger of the two sub-regions, so I'm sure they'll do fine.
Didn't Zedhox pick IG as well?
I picked IG.
Did you go IG? I thought you went FAV. Oh, okay, my apologies. Oh, look, you're smart like me, so of course you went Invictus, my apologies. But yeah, I do think they're looking better heading into this matchup. Clubhouse should suit their play style. I think one thing to talk about briefly is that Clubhouse isn't a map necessarily where you will see one star player have the ability to pop off. The map doesn't necessarily play out that way. It is often very much 4-5 players having to consistently step up. So don't expect the likes of Speakeasy or Hysterics again to have a huge game. Don't expect number 2 to be able to carry this one. It is going to take a team effort.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll agree with you, but I still think it's going to be Speakeasy going like 16-6 or something crazy like that. Because that's just the form that guy's in right now. But Dev, do you think we've seen enough from FAV like in these playoffs? If they do in fact lose this, they lost to QC. I mean, they got really pushed by Kira Esports at least on one of the map to then lose 2-0 to Invictus. Would you consider that a bit of a failure?
Look, I don't think FAV had very high expectations going in, knowing that this hasn't been a great season for them so far overall all year. But the thing with FAV is they've always been kind of on the outside looking in. They've always been a top team, but they're kind of slowly slipping away and lower down that APAC ladder. I think that's disappointing to them. And when is that going to stop? When are they going to actually start, climbing upwards again? And I think that today was a great opportunity to show that with a strong showing against Invictus, but unfortunately it hasn't been. I think it would be a bit of a failure. I know Shin wasn't unrealistic about his expectations, but he still has high standards for his team.
Yeah, I don't think FAV will be necessarily disappointed. I mean, I echo what Dev said. In isolation, this stage, the expectation wouldn't have been for them to come here and probably make Mexico, if we're being, honestly brutal. But I think the disappointment would probably stem when we take a step back and look at the fact that FAV have been together for so long, and they have sort of lived in the shadows of other Japanese teams from APAC that have gone on and done really good things internationally. So that's where the disappointment will stem from. Again, still, of course, an opportunity for them to bounce back here and try and make a statement and represent Japan alongside Cyclops at Mexico. But yeah, being the bridesmaid has to hurt.
Just quickly, before we get into this game, still just waiting on one player to get in. We'll have a quick little touch on the Q Confirmed Fnatic game, Dev, as well. We were able to watch a little bit of it, obviously, off stream. A 5-1 start for QC, and then 6-0 from Fnatic. Were you a little bit surprised by that comeback?
Very much, yeah. I saw 5-1, and I was like, all right, looks like we're going to have Fnatic, dust it off pretty quickly, I guess. But no, they certainly brought a lot of momentum in their second half on that attack, just really unstoppable. Honestly, does give you a bit of confidence in them, because Fnatic has had rocky performances. Diz was, the first one to admit that Fnatic, while they have done better in Stage 2 here, it's not like, Fnatic is back. It's not like they are, one of the top teams in APAC yet. They have a lot to prove, and inconsistency is, as with many of these teams here, like we're talking FAV and IG, I would also put in that basket, their biggest weakness. And the fact that they could have such a significant comeback is fantastic. But, I don't want to see a Fnatic that sometimes is down here and sometimes is up here. I'd rather see a Fnatic that is always up here and can consistently just perform to a level, whatever level that is, because that's when you can start making improvements. If you're hit and miss, then I don't know how you actually move forward from that.
Does?
Yeah, it's been rough for Fnatic over the last couple of years, again, taking into account all of their circumstances and having to play from Australia, etc. And we know that it has been really tough for them, I would assume mentally, but also just performing inside of the server. Very challenging for them. We know they have high expectations of themselves, living up to that Fnatic organization and the history that they have in Rainbow Six. Obviously going to be a bit of a burden for this team, and the goal for them has to be to make Mexico. We haven't seen them internationally for quite some time. I mean, yes, of course, the pandemic and whatnot, but they haven't been qualifying for the mini majors. They didn't go to 6 Invitational 2021, so there is a big expectation on them to head themselves to an international event and try to, I guess, reignite that flame of Fnatic and live up to that brand, but still a long way to go for them. They need to make this lower bracket run, and yes, a really good comeback there, but that's only one map. They still need to win another, and then all the series that is still to go with some really tough opponents ahead of them.
I believe that second map between Fnatic and QC has already started. It's Rainbow Six TW, if you want to go and check that one out on Twitch. I think it's on Coastline, and it looks as if Fnatic are actually off to a good start again in that one, which I think is actually their map pick as well. So maybe expecting Fnatic to come through, guys, and if that does happen, Dev, and if we could end up having a Fnatic Invictus matchup, isn't that really just storyline galore?
Yeah, what a rivalry between those two teams. Believe it or not, they have already met so far in the APAC Plus bracket in their very opening game in the upper bracket. But of course, that was a best of one. No, that was when IG sent Fnatic down into the lower bracket. Fnatic will definitely be looking for some revenge, but IG definitely going to be gunning for that rematch against Elevate or potentially a game against Dam1 in that match that will give them the spot to Mexico should they win it. So yeah, a massive rivalry between probably, arguably the two biggest organizations here in this playoffs, maybe chuck Dam1 in there, and definitely two probably of the most famous teams in this playoffs.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be the first time, right, that we have seen Fnatic and Invictus face off in an APAC playoffs format for their spot at an international LAN. I think one of their probably most famous matches. I remember sitting at home literally watching it. You were casting it, Dev, over with Infian at the APAC finals. It was Pro League Season 10, Fnatic beat Aerowolf, an absolute banging matchup, and Aerowolf finally managed to take down Fnatic for, I believe it was the first time, right, at a LAN event, which was just such a huge storyline. And no doubt those teams have a lot of respect for each other, and I'm sure they're probably wanting to verse each other just for the fun of it and to try and prove the other wrong. And look, it's a big clash between those two, a big clash between the sub-regions of North and South, and if we manage to get that matchup, no doubt it will be really, really exciting to watch.
That's the other thing as well, Dev, as we sort of get in towards not the tail end of the playoffs yet. We've still got the rest of today and of course tomorrow. But if that does end up eventuating, if it does end up being an Invictus v Fnatic lower bracket round 3 matchup, that means there's only 4 teams left. Dam1, Elevate, of course, in the upper bracket final, and then Invictus, Fnatic, with already 1 from South and 1 from North already up to Mexico. It's pretty even, really, then at that point, that whoever then wins that game for their region, Dev, has got more teams left alive.
Yeah, very much so. Now, there's still a chance that we could have 2 North teams or 2 South teams out of these playoffs served up to Mexico. It depends on who wins that upper bracket game, and then the lower bracket final, which would of course be, let's presume, right, that Fnatic and IG are going to win the games that are going on right now. It would be the winner of Fnatic IG versus the loser of Elevate Dam1. So yeah, totally a possibility it's Dam1 and Fnatic that could make it through to Mexico. Totally possible that it could be Elevate and IG. And yeah, I think that's pretty fun. I know that both Elevate and IG said to me that they believed that would be the 2 teams to make it through. I know that Fnatic said that they were hoping it would be 2 APAC North teams as revenge from Stage 1. Let me check what Kat Sang said. No, he said my team are Knights. I don't think he realized the Knights already qualified. So, oh well, that's Dam1 for you.
Yeah, I'm still of the mind. Still at the moment, I mean, it was my prediction heading into the playoffs, and it still stands. I believe Dam1 Kia and Elevate will probably be the 2 teams most likely to go to Mexico. I think it's fair to say that even above the likes of, the big names, Invictus, Fnatic, etc., I still think that they're head and shoulders above that competition. Now, we'll have to see that realized. There is that real opportunity, as Dev outlined, that we'd see them play off in that lower bracket final. What a match that could be to really hone in on that storyline and see if that prediction is correct. But yeah, I still believe Dam1 Kia and Elevate just too good at the moment, yeah. And it's going to be very, very tough. I feel like these teams are really still chasing their tails at the moment.
Yeah, apologies for the delays, everybody. Unfortunately, still has just taken a little bit longer than we expected to get one of the players into the game. So what we're going to do is go to a quick break. When we do come back, though, the second map will be on the other side.
stress up the groove. The energy a little different when the blessings accrue. Hey, who you talking to? Just know I ain't no regular fool. Could be anything in the world, but I can never be you because I stand tall like I'm on my tiptoes, baby. You think a little too small. I got big goals, baby. Hey, where the money at? Look, I just need the info. Pronto, I go and get it and split it with my kinfolk daily, and I'm the type of that might change my number on you. Yeah, that's how you react when people took a slumber on you. Pretty brown skin, baby, I can see the summer on you. You see all the bread, and I know it make you wonder, don't you, don't you, don't you? Ooh, I ain't surprised at all. Seen them rise and fall. Went up the mountain, it wasn't hard to climb at all. At the top, I found some relief. I finally got some peace. Carry on, but please don't mess up the mood. Yeah, I worked too hard for it. No, I need it, beat it, before you mess up the mood. Yeah, ooh, I worked too hard for it, and I need it, so please don't mess up the mood. Don't mess up the mood. Don't mess up the mood. Yeah, I worked too hard for it. Yeah, don't mess up the mood. Oh, it's so crucial, I gotta keep it. It's in the air, it's everywhere. No, it's not a secret, and I bet they didn't think that I'd ever get it. Everything you've done, I get it. The life you're dreaming, I live it, and I'm coming in high. You better get out the kitchen. Yeah, I could make a hit on whatever you pitching. Baby, let me fill up whatever you missing. Or you like it up at the top, it's a better view, isn't it? I'm not surprised at all, no way. Hey, what you need? Come on, just pay the fee. I supply it all. Went up the mountain and it wasn't hard to climb at all. At the top, I found some relief, you see. So please don't mess up the mood. Yeah, I worked too hard for it. No, I need it, beat it, before you mess up the mood. Alright, ooh, I worked too hard for it, and I need it. So please don't mess up the mood. Don't mess up the mood. Don't mess up the mood. Yeah, oh come on, I worked too hard for it. Yeah, don't mess up the mood. Hey yo, the rain was steady pouring, heard the drops of drizzle meant to be. Chilling in my crib, no doubt, peep the scenery. Telephone rang, then it stopped before I could answer it. I heard a knock at the door, so I answered it. And with Jermaine, he had a little situation. Beef up on the block, and orthodox that led the confrontation. He said these cats be acting hard on the block, and they be pumping weight and holding, so Dwayne got shot. Now see, Dwayne was just a knucklehead, but still with his cousin. And I'd be wrong if I ain't help him when his beef, he gon' rush him. He said, listen, homie, ain't no time for discussion. Motherfucking pressure's rising in this port in the bustin'. So if you with me, then you with me.
Thank you everyone for bearing with us as we are just moments away from getting into our second map in this best of three between FAV and Invictus Gaming. Hopefully the player has been able to load into the game and we can get in very shortly. But Dev, we'll go around the table, maybe hopefully one more time. Final thoughts heading into this second map on Clubhouse.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a FAV Gaming win, I think. Yeah, definitely FAV going to win this time. Look, yeah, I just think that FAV are going to win.
Does.
Do you want to cast with me this afternoon, Xenox? I don't know, are you free?
You know what? Let's just do it. Let's just get rid of this Dev guy. Look,
Yeah,
you know
sounds
what?
like a good
Oh,
idea.
host.
Let's just get rid of him right now, in fact. We're going to throw it over to two guys who actually know what they're talking about.
He's done you good there, man. I can tell you what.
He's not talking about us, is he? I mean, maybe you for sure. I don't know how he's going with that one, but certainly so. This is shaping up to be quite a good matchup, Raven. I mean, Invictus are certainly they're on the rise since their stage one performance. I think we've talked about it a fair bit on the desk, but I mean, stage one, they were missing. 2020, they were unbelievable. And maybe this might just be one of the best storylines we have coming along with us in stage two. It is Invictus Gaming rising from the ashes and FAV trying to prove themselves. I'm excited to see Clubhouse, honestly. This is a big matchup.
Yeah, me too. I mean, historically, and it's always hard to speak to really old results, but historically, there's so many Invictus Gaming Clubhouse victories that stand out in my mind. So in times like APAC playoffs, they know how to step up on a map like Clubhouse. I'm just definitely fearing for FAV right now, because the other thing that's echoing my mind is Luna Metal saying in a very recent interview to us that they feel like they really are the best team once they can get consistent form, and just feels like they are edging closer and closer to that consistent form, and they are kind of peaking at the right time here.
Well, I mean, they were the first team to hand QC their loss. They were going 4-0. Hello, Monty Band. We love to see that. I feel like Invictus have always been known for the Monty plays, so not at all confused by that from FAV. But I will say that, you know, Invictus certainly have shown us and proven to us this season, that or this stage, that they are going to really be a threat toward the end of this year. And I mean, could you imagine if they're able to secure the Mexico Major? I'm talking well into the future here, because of course we still have potentially another map after this to decide whether they even have an opportunity to then fight for the opportunity to go to the Major. They've still got 2 best of 3s ahead of them. But certainly so, it has been quite a trek for them. Bans as we see it: Raven, Maverick, Monty, Malusi, and finally the Wamai. Thoughts?
I think a bit of a waste on the Monty ban, honestly, if I'm FAV. I feel like this Monty ban against Invictus, especially on Clubhouse, is echoes of years ago. I mean, Luna is definitely still a threat on the Monty, don't get me wrong. But in terms of strength of ban, leaving Thatcher up, and even just like another hard breacher, it's certainly going to make attacking a lot more comfortable on Clubhouse right now. Yeah. And if for IG, I don't think it's here nor there whether they've got Monty up or not. Like, I think that this is really going to make attacking comfortable. I don't know, I'm feeling like this ban phase overall, in my opinion, kind of favors Invictus. Only marginally. I mean, you can't read into it too much, but they're also the ones starting on the defense. And generally, we have seen Clubhouse just kind of lean a little bit still towards the defender side. Quickly looking on the stats here, in APAC North, 56% overall defense win rate, and South, 54%. Pretty actually even between the two regions.
Quite even, regardless of what our minds might tell us, that's for sure. Or maybe Dev can try and convince us again that Chalet is attacking sided. He could do so for Clubhouse here. Now, what I'm really curious is to see how Invictus are going to approach this, because they don't have the best record, honestly. The fact that they've picked Clubhouse, it does scare me a little bit, I'll be honest, because we have not seen anything that really draws our attention and makes us think, oh wow, they are going to absolutely obliterate FAV here. So this could be a little door left slightly ajar for FAV to make their way back into this series.
Certainly, and FAV will take any millimeter of light into the tunnel that they can to try and bring this back. So massive opportunity here to excel on these attacks. Already very swift entry into the building. Do really like this from FAV. It's going to try and shut down any kind of roam that IG still have. And from what I could just see on the outlines, they've all dropped back to site now. Looked like Joe was the only one hanging out on storage stairs, maybe deciding to be aggressive, but you can see he's gone down to blue. That's everybody back on site. So FAV can just kind of have their way with the map now and start engaging in a lot of the tasks that you need to do when you're attacking the basement on Clubhouse.
And you know, you've already said it with the bans, but like leaving that Thatcher in just allows for so much. At the very least, like a second hard breacher. Something has to be done there for a map that is so methodical in its approach to at least the first phase of the round, at least to opening things up. Again, looking at something like Moto, the hatch. So easy to deal with that. Now Luna, I mean, surely not going to try and juggle this one. I wouldn't be surprised, to be completely honest, but Jordan going down, that's the smoke. That is a very big pick from FAV.
It's a big pick. Unfortunately, that C4 to try answer isn't going to hit. So far, they haven't gone for this Moto hatch that Luna's trying to juggle. Here we go. He's going to go for it, and going to have to wait for his EMP. Hasn't been doubled if Luna's quick enough, which looks like he is. He's going to get this.
Oh my
Big.
God.
Absolutely huge.
I mean, K-Razor is the only hard breacher that FAV have. And oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. My eyes. Yeah, no, that's my fault. I thought for a second that is surely not how this round goes down. Thank you, Raven, for once again correcting me. I will shut up.
Oh, it's all right, bro. No, you were about to make a very good point. It just wasn't right.
So it's Just not a very good point at all. Just a horrific point overall. I guess at the very least, they can still look to deny the Selma charges. They will be able to open up stock for free, but they won't be able to get Kitchen. Shin has gone down in the meantime. It looks like that may have been Luna who dropped in, but Invictus are starting to make this round a lot more dangerous for FAV.
Absolutely, they are. Now they have the man advantage. Less than 30 seconds to go. It means FAV are going to have to start to get aggressive. Still a really important shield here for Speakeasy to hang out behind. This is about to get deadly here.
Certainly is. No kitchen hatch either, so Invictus don't have to worry about that drop coming in. That's a really nice C4 and a great double down from Invictus to secure that first round on their clubhouse defense. FAV, signs are not looking all that great to start with.
Yeah, they got their opening pick, but just couldn't really capitalize on it. And what's really sad about that, I guess, is that it was on Jordan, who was the smoke. I mean, such a critical operator on a lot of these clubhouse defenses, because those smoke babes to deny either an entry or even the plants, just given the way clubhouse is structured, is quite important. So it was a good opening pick from Shin. Unfortunately, yeah, they couldn't continue to back it up. They also kind of bungled trying to open Moto Hatch. They eventually got there, but even just losing one exothermic charge to it can hinder your entire strat. You know, who knows, maybe they were going to try and open Church Wall. That could have really changed things and destabilized a lot of positions of the defense. So yeah, FAV going to have to be really careful. They're going to try and keep it really tight with these attacks.
I believe this is the first time we're seeing the Flores in this matchup, so not used at all on Consulate, which I feel like it's had a fair bit of use, especially on those basement attacks. You know, a lot of really great utility that you can disperse when you are using the Rotero drones through that hole, and or through the drone hole, I should say, down in basement. But likewise for here, there's so much that the Rotero drone can do and can open up for you. So might just make a little bit of the approach easier. And they do have the Thatcher as well. So this is, I mean, this is cool, calm, and collected. But they do only have K-Razor on the hard breach. No secondary this time, so there you go.
Yes, that's correct. Oh, look at you, mate.
We got there. do I get a star or a demerit point or something like that? I don't
Gold
know how
star
this
for sure.
works. Yeah,
Gold
there
star.
we go.
But no, it's definitely a good point. And to your point about Flores as well, he definitely has demonstrated his strength on many of these maps, really, and certainly helpful for Clubhouse, because if you've got utility to clear, just in general, those Rotero drones are so helpful. They really are. So I think it's a great pick, and overall, I really like the attack lineup from FAV. It's certainly nothing special, but I think that's also important, right? They're not trying to do anything too out of the realm that's going to maybe mess with their form later. I think that's fine. On the Invictus Gaming side, though, similar deal. I think what's really interesting to see right now, though, is that FAV haven't really given a massive indicator on how they're going to clear out cash. Here we go. He's going to start using these Rotero drones. And Speakeasy actually has 2 shields there that he can utilize. So that could be tough.
Certainly could be. I do really like the... I mean, I hate to see the frost, but I love to see it at the same time. I'm not going to say the word that I think it's Guz and Xenox love to say, but certainly the frost mats will cause a little bit of ruckus. Now, what is that going to really achieve? A bit more of an opening, so Joe won't be able to peek behind the soft wall, so makes things a little bit more awkward. We'll have to face check that, which FAV could hold should they wish to, but a minute 20 left. A FAV in the right position here.
Well, I just realized that they've really given up trying to push out the cash players. Fair enough. You know, sometimes you can do this push without doing so, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult to get the logistics control knowing that your opponents can still retake con. And it's also tricky to then clear out Master because you have to rely on angles from the balcony windows to really cover that. So I think it's going to just make a plant attempt very squishy. It's going to come down to them having to effectively clear out these defenders on top of the fact Speakeasy is still looming below, very dangerous.
Oh, that's well executed from Typon. My goodness, that is gorgeous. And now Invictus are left scrambling. Speakeasy with a double C4. Shin very quickly trades it. But this is starting to roll a little bit out of control here. Oh?
Oh.
What? Oh.
Well, Jordan goes big for the double. Shin's going to have to try and clutch this one solo right now, and certainly going to be tough. 10 seconds to go. Does have a little bit of info. See the yellow ping. It's not enough, though. Luna closes that one out for Invictus.
I mean, how? Was it Jordan and Hysterics, or no Speakeasy, that both came up massive with 2Ks when it needed most? And that is so detrimental to the mental game of FAV, who really looked like they were well and truly in that round. They had shoved Invictus out completely. And where they thrived in chaos in the last game, not so much is it happening here.
Yeah, this is certainly quite interesting. I think FAV probably suffering a similar fate to what happened on Consulate, right? I mean, Invictus got the first 3 rounds consecutively on Consulate, and then it was just always a struggle from that point on for FAV to really get themselves back in the game. They got close, but they never got an opportunity to take the lead. Feels like they're setting themselves up for a similar trend here. Invictus could easily run away with this defense half. And then honestly, I just feel like Invictus are gonna be pretty good with their attacks. I just have a gut feeling that, I don't know, I feel like they're gonna be able to close it out quite solidly. So if I feel like if FAV don't get a 3-3 half here, I mean, in my mind, I feel like it's just Invictus's to win at that point.
5 seconds left before
Speaking of a team's opportunity to win, Q Confirm are up 5-1 on Coastline against Fnatic. Fnatic are now moving over to their attacking half, and it's only just beginning. So if you do want to check that out, Rainbow Six TW on Twitch is where you'll be heading for that one. Now, it is so vitally important that Invictus just continue to keep that pressure on FAV, knowing that this is kind of like a bit of a 50-50 map in all things considered between the attack and the defense. FAV could well and truly bring this back, and you don't want to start with such composure and such confidence only for it to be diminished. Now, I'm loving this behind Hysterics now coming in. That is 2 of the 3 EMPs used. This is not good at all. Oh, Hysterics has read that perfectly.
Oh, he has absolutely nailed this. That was a clinic, man. He actually just destroyed FAV's chances of getting that wall open. They're allowed EMPs. That's it. They're going to have to flush it out from below, or maybe even use the CC window, but I don't think they honestly can. And that was a whole minute burned, a lot of utility. Oh, that was beautiful from Hysterics.
Wow, I mean, that just felt like watching that looked so disjointed from FAV. I mean, it's not the best sign when we're already seeing them struggle a little bit. However, in the meantime, they have taken the bedroom control logistics as well. Jordan on that flank underneath. They will have flank cam, so he just needs to be cautious on his approach, and maybe he could just sit and be a little bit of a nuisance here. They still have number 2 on the Roteros that will be able to kind of utilize the best work into dealing with this con push.
Definitely going to be, again, quite squishy. You see 4 players kind of all stacked up around that composition. 2 IG players looking to retake below. They still have just such deadly positions. In fact, the entire FAV team is all very concentrated in a singular section. I don't know whether they might even breach rush this. I could be reading into it a little bit too much, honestly, but either way, this is all getting very telegraphed, and Speakeasy's found a pick. It's been traded at least by Shin. 45 seconds remaining, though. Certainly going to be a bit of a tough execute here for FAV.
Some great calls there from Shin to be able to find that player. Rotating back around, but Speakeasy and the SMG-11, name a more iconic duo. He has absolutely popped off with that this series. And right now, Invictus are just in the best position. Look at Hysterics flank. Now FAV have to be worried about from behind as Joe just collapses on them. My God. FAV don't look like they have a hope in this matchup right now.
That's just so well played from Invictus Gaming at every turn just then. I mean, it all started with the beautifully executed juggle on Kennel's wall, and then once they it was very obvious that FAV were pushing from construction, they just, the positioning, even the patience, you know, the player playing behind green box, you could kind of tell he was aware that a player had pushed in deep, didn't overpeak it, knew a teammate was holding the angle, teammate got the kill, then he peeked and just finished it off through con. It's just amazing team play that we're starting to see from Invictus Gaming right here, and that's how they've shot out to this 3-0 lead.
Very reminiscent from map number 1 on Consulate. It is going to be a tack timeout after the first 3 rounds. Spiral out of control for Invictus. And FAV need to use this time. Again, always stress the importance coming back from a tactical timeout that you do take that round. It can just give you so much momentum, so much hope heading into that second half of the first half. And just another update once again. Surely Fnatic aren't going to do this again after a 5-1 first half. Surely they're not. They're currently 5-2 up. Sorry, they're not 5-2 up. They've gone up the first round on their attack. But it just terrifies me, Raven.
Look, I wouldn't put it past them. They've definitely done it before. Also, coastline attacks can be like that sometimes. But hey, you never know. We will definitely keep an eye on it and keep you guys updated. Right here, that timeout is over. So time for FAV to really work out what is going wrong. And I mean, I feel like there is a few pretty obvious things. Hopefully they've been able to identify that and start to really think about some solutions. The other thing I do want to point out, again, I want to preface, I'm not putting it all on one guy. I know this is a team game. Number 2 is still having a bit of a shocker. Just unfortunately hasn't quite been able to find his way in today. And I'm not saying that is everything that is going wrong with FAV, but he just had such an impact yesterday. You know, it's really hard to not say that he was the MVP easily for their team yesterday, but almost for the entire day of playoffs. Like, yeah, he had a serious impact.
Certainly quiet in the first half of Consulate. Second half, he kind of came alive a little bit in a couple of rounds, but this is just not the sign that we had hoped for, you know. At a time where FAV need a hero the most, the call may go unanswered. And, you know, again, just to reiterate, we're not trying to put it on one person, but certainly FAV's performance yesterday can be attributed to 50 kills across 3 maps to one person. So very, very easy to make that argument. It's not even a question, but Invictus are just looking so good at the moment as FAV now start to approach basement once more.
Conversely to the whole one player being the star kind of thing, I mean, the argument for Speakeasy on IG, he just doesn't miss. He's 7-1 right now after 3 rounds. Like, he's just so consistent for IG, and it must be really helpful for their team as they're going through a tough period to just be able to lean on such a strong, consistent player. Really is dangerous. But anyway, back to the game at hand, of course. FAV have made some really decent progress to get the map control. Start to get this vertical play happening. It all really started to fall apart when they couldn't quite get Moto Hatch open easily, and they never really recovered from that.
So, looking like it's a lot more clinical this time from FAV. Not really wasting any of the hard breaches gadget as of yet. They still need to do the dance, do the tango in kitchen. That's if they decide to. I guess they left that kitchen hatch completely reinforced in that last round, and I mean, it did kind of mean that they had to funnel through church and try and find the trades there. But certainly, as we approach that minute mark, big questions will be asked of FAV here, because outside of that, they haven't taken control of main stairs yet, which they are starting to do. But this is the util that we need to see the Rotero really get to work on.
And really well used to, just kind of place it in the middle of the shield and ADS to clear multiples. Didn't quite do it that time, could have easily had an ADS. Oh, he still got it, beautifully done. So look, that's the strength of the Roteros there, much better from FAV to clear out that utility. Have a better opportunity to try and deal with this. Beautiful Electric Claw placement though from IG, and again, this is going to be tough, but FAV in fighting here in Church.
Oh my god, K-Razor comes up massive with a triple kill to give FAV an opportunity here. Shin and Afro both together, but Joe on the flank. This is so critical. Asterix has to stay alive here. He cannot afford to fall, otherwise it's all on the shoulders of Joe, who can do it. Did he just see him planting? He certainly did. Joe will just play this cool, calm, and collectively, oh, what a play from Afro. He baits it out with the nade to force him out through the door of Church. And that is a massive round on the board for FAV.
Yeah, huge clutch there. And look, it was a really good effort. It was very chaotic. A very chaotic execute. Didn't quite see where a lot of the picks really came from. But regardless, they did a really great job kind of like team exploding to site. It's what enabled a lot of those trades to happen. And certainly big props to Afro in that clutch. Really smartly played with the frag grenade. Uncooked at that too. Does mean that a player often can't really choose to push in a singular direction. They have to funnel. Does make it a bit more of a calculated gunfight. So really nicely done. Good to see FAV get a first round on the board.
Literally mirroring what we saw on Consulate. Now,
True.
I do want to go back because I don't know whether it was what I was looking at, but I thought that maybe K-Razor had come from blue, but again, I'll have a look at that, and if it's nothing, well, it's nothing. But regardless, that is just such a massive round for FAV to have on the board, considering Joe actually had both players lined up, and that could have been a quick 1-2 and a good night and a fourth round on the board for Invictus. This now does give FAV an opportunity back into this game. Now, they have to take it with both hands. They, honestly, I don't think a 4-2 half will be good enough against Invictus's attack here, right?
10 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely not giving themselves a great position. Again, I really do think FAV need to try and push this to 3-3, so they're going to have to try and dig deep and get 3 consecutive rounds.
Objective is to locate a bomb
Now,
and defuse it.
Invictus Gaming have just gone the full rotate. They're going back to gym bedroom, and this did look decent at one point for FAV. You know, Typon got a really big 2k entry off of the jacuzzi wall, taking bathroom control. That made it look quite decent. There was just a couple of other big plays. A C4 from Speakeasy, for example, and 2k from Jordan really brought IG back into that round. So I think this one is winnable for FAV. They could potentially push this to be the 2-3.
I really like that position from number 2, where those Rotero drones were coming from, on top of the roof from the freezer. Now, Joe, how's the timing on this? This is absolutely massive. Did he just deny it?
No, he pulled it off just in time.
So lucky, because that's his last one as well. Oh, but this one's going to hit perfect. Oh, no! The EMP just makes it out in time, Raven. But certainly so. Now, FAV have that opening to watch that rotate from logistics to site and can start to do a little bit more in putting the pressure back on the Joe, which we saw work perfectly.
I was just keeping an eye on that frost mat that was behind the mirror position,
That would've
and I
been
was
big.
like, if that stays up, it's such a rat mat, you know? Like, it'd be the one that you would totally just rush into 20 seconds to go, and you would just be wondering, who the hell put this here?
Who and why. Certainly
Exactly.
true. It is a shame that it's gone, because that could have been funky to say the very least. But again, when you have both, you know, the ability to use the Rotero drones and the EMPs, the use of these hard breaches just becomes so much easier. Their job is all but too easy, if you would say. And I mean, look at Invictus, they're still so spread. FAV do have the opening over toward Kennel, but I mean, what else do they have at the moment?
Not a massive amount, you're right. Minutes ago, again, this is something that did happen with their last pushes. They didn't really opt to take a tremendous amount of map control outside of just opening that jacuzzi wall. Similar procedure here, so I am really curious how they are going to shape this execute. As we were prefacing, you know, it actually did go okay last round. Of course, they didn't win it, but it had its moment. They had an opening that just didn't go their way. And now that we're coming down to this final 30 seconds, it's yeah, it's time to try and make an impact here. They've got to try and push these IG players out. Got to try and find this opening pick.
Again, just to remind you, Invictus are 1-up in the series right now, so this would be devastating for Invictus to go at least 4-1-up in the first half as they move to their attack. FAV putting themselves in a position to push from Jacuzzi here. They are going to be covered. That's a big pick from Joe to start off with. He peeks around the corner, finds himself a second. FAV have absolutely been ripped to shreds by Joe. Jordan and Speakeasy chime in as well, but it's all but done and dusted by that point.
Incredible. FAV just absolutely collapsed. That was just nuts to watch. And yeah, Joe on the triple, flawless round in the end. I guess it just really came down to FAV just really didn't have much else to go off. Like, them not pushing out the cash positions, it just means that they don't really have like the two-pointed attack that you would normally see on Gym Bedroom. Normally, if you've got Kennel's wall, oh not Kennel's, Jacuzzi wall open, and then you push out those cash positions. You've then got con, usually logistics. Maybe logistics is a part of the last part of the execute, but at least you're kind of pushing from multiple directions. Didn't quite see where the rest of that push did shape up, but at the end of the day, it felt like they were running into a death trap.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they did run into a death trap.
Yeah, it felt so rough. You know, that peak that can come from CCTV all the way out onto the balcony that literally runs the entire extension of both bedroom and gym is just devastating. And the fact that they only had vaultable breaches over on Jacuzzi made Jordan's job so easy. They hadn't been able to do anything with that. Invictus are having a field day right now, and what we saw earlier, and just to preface this for anyone who may be joining us now or who potentially wasn't watching before, the juggle from Hysterics with nothing but a mute jammer to support him on Kennel's wall was absolutely outrageous. It burnt through 3 EMPs and also one of K-Razor's charges. Speakeasy. I mean, that's just speakeasy things, right? He's only died twice with 8 kills. What?
Absolutely unreal, man. He has certainly been probably an MVP for the entire stage. I mean, like, I know IG have had their struggles, but he has just constantly been putting them on his back. Of course, team game, it's more than just that, but it's just been an incredible showing. And another incredible showing here from Hysterics and the Bandit trick. It didn't quite stop at least one of those Selmas going off, but it's still at least some kind of hindrance.
Now, very quickly, I'm going to update you. Fnatic have gone their first 3 rounds flawless. Not flawless, but they have not been contested on their attack. It is currently 5-4, and they are looking to do the exact same thing they did to Q-Confirm little less than, what, half an hour ago on Chalet? That is not looking good at all. So, again, just to remind you, Rainbow6TW on Twitch is where you'll head for that one. And right now, FAV looking like they're taking a little bit of a different approach once they got at least the sight line into CCTV. They can now start to utilize other sites.
I just saw that from Jordan, though. He's cheekily just thrown a Valkyrie camera outside the breach line of sight towards Kennels. They're going to have full info on the execute happening there. Look at that. That is beautiful.
Cheeky. That's so cheeky. And I will remind you as well, we're in the 6th round right now, and Invictus each player has only died twice. This is kind of showing you how dominant this team has been. The entire team has been. In come the EMPs. Now, what can Hysterics do? Can he get the timing on these Selma charges? Yes, he can. There's none left for Shin, and there's only one more charge left for K-Razor as well.
Starting to get to a very tricky point here, and Hysterics is just coming up trumps again. That frag grenade misses the mark here. One of those bandit charges is still active. FAV, they've got 45 seconds to make an executive decision. What are they going to try and pull together? They have not once revisited this Kennel's wall. I wonder if they even realize they have a line of sight here. I'm not sure, but either way, here comes the execute manic. They're on site.
Oh, God, yeah. They're just walking right into the arms of Hysterics, who goes massive with the sidearm. My God.
No.
A flawless round and flawlessly played from Hysterics. This is devastating for FAV Gaming.
2 flawless rounds in a row. FAV Gaming haven't had a kill since round 4. That is unreal. Invictus Gaming have seriously stepped up those defenses. FAV only mustering 1 attack, and honestly, like, very surprising. Thatcher is on the board. Should make a lot more of club attacks simpler. I'm not going to say easier because it's not easy, but simpler because you can use those EMPs. But we did see it on a lot of rounds. If FAV struggled to really perfectly utilize them, nothing is going to wipe out my mind the wasted EMPs in round 3 when they were trying to attack. It was also cash CC. Oh dear. No, this is a very tough position for FAV Gaming right now. They're going to have to do a Fnatic and do 6 rounds in a row to try and save this entire series.
Well, I mean, you know, the proof is in the pudding. It can be done. It can be done. It just, you know, like, it's crazy that in this day and age, after we've seen Clubhouse for so long and we know how these mini games are played out, Raven, that we still see such a struggle on those attacks for Kennel's Wall. You know, like, that is absolutely crazy. The fact that Kennel's Wall, you know, Kennels and Con on both rounds, only one part of the Selma charge went off on both rounds. So Invictus literally had the entire site to themselves, and Raven, you're seeing this, aren't you?
I wasn't going to say it, but you can if you want to.
No, go for it.
You talking about number 2?
No, I'm actually talking about Fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, that too. That too. Okay, you want to go with the Fnatic thing? We can go with the Fnatic thing. Score update. QConfirm Fnatic are now 5-5 on Coastline, being map 2 in that series. That is Fnatic with 4 successful rounds in a row. So that is also the first map kind of repeating itself there.
Ooh, Luna. I don't mind that. Has he been spotted? Never mind. He'll just destroy the black eye and get away. But yeah, and you can go with the number 2, I guess, because that is equally as bad, if we're to say that.
Yeah, he's just really having an off day, the poor guy. And I feel like just expectations from yesterday have probably... I mean, they're definitely getting the better of me or us, or maybe him as well. That was a sharp shot from Typon. Jordan only hitting 1 bullet in the end back, but look, it's a really important start for the half for FAV. Like, just getting that opening kill, it's one step. Take one step at a time.
Just getting a kill.
Well,
Any kill.
That too. First kill in 3 rounds.
That is crazy. In 3 rounds. Invictus now are absolutely cruising through this match. Unfortunately, Typon can't get anything done there. Shin now going to be the next up on the chopping block for Joe, but he will just sit back and sit passively and patiently in blue.
Yeah, just off to the side, but IG, they push on elsewhere. Now they've got this motor hatch open so they can start to really shape up their attacks a little more. Something we didn't really mention before is, interestingly, Church Wall quite open purposely by the defense. So is the Arsenal rush wall. A lot of teams like to lean on late there as well. Oh no, it's actually deeper down. It's still soft though, so they could go for it. But less than a minute, this is where it does start to get a bit interesting for IG. They have to try and find maybe a little bit more penetration. Still in that 4v4 scenario, it could be very tough for an execute.
Could be. FAV kind of turtling on site now. Don't have a choice but to fight through everything here. Joe slowly progressing toward the site. Number 2's first frag of the game comes in round 7. And just like that, it's K-Razor to deny blue for Invictus. And it's all speakeasy. He's the only player left. He's done it before. Can he do it again?
Definitely wins these. I wouldn't write him out, but 10 seconds to go. Look, it's going to be tough. Oh, number 2 popped his head over the box, has been found. I don't think he's going to be able to find the next 3 in time. Not going to do it. Afro closes out for FAV. They've got another round on the board. And maybe, just maybe, Manic, this is the start of the comeback.
It could well be. That was a solid defense, all things considered. It felt like Invictus had done a pretty good job of, forcing FAV back onto site and also evening out the man count, starting to get those hatch work. Or work on the hatches. There we go. We got there in the end. But FAV just too strong. K-Razor massive in toward blue with a double. And now we go to gym and bedroom. This is telling now for FAV. If we see 3 confident sites, I'm not convinced for Invictus, that's for sure.
I'll tell you what I'm not convinced about.
Don't tell me.
We just had the update. Fnatic are on match point now, 6-5 against QConfirm.
Again.
I am not convinced that QConfirm will win a single defense today. I don't know what's going on in that game. I hope you guys have been watching it at the same time as this, just to keep an update on what exactly has been going on. But either way, bit of a rough one there for QConfirm, and also a great effort from Fnatic. Not over yet. We'll keep you updated. In terms of Invictus FAV, also not over yet. FAV winning that last round, look, it has given me at least a little bit of hope. It looks pretty strong, look, it was a decent win in the end. So at least there is some light there.
I guess we could say maybe number 2 has been awoken. I can't even say that with pure confidence. He's died every round and has only had 1 kill. Now, of course, that's not the entirety of your impact when you are playing Siege, but right now in this current meta, I don't think you can afford to have any player this quiet, especially a player like number 2 who yesterday dropped 50 frags in 3 games. It's pretty scary when you look at the grand scheme of things here. So It's now or never for FAV. This is their last hurrah before match point on series point, by the way. Invictus win this, and I would say they're off to defeat, or at least try to defeat, Fnatic in the final approach in that lower bracket before that Mexico spot is up for grabs.
Seems like that's where we're trending to, but still formalities to go. Really well executed there from IG. Just again, clearing for utility. Very interesting little setup, very aggressive here in Con. Afro playing behind a shield does actually get Luna tagged. It's not going to be an easy angle to contest. Not sure that's the play from Luna. He's still keen to try and push this position out.
Ooh.
Potentially maybe they need to get a frag grenade in there, but yeah, point of contention for sure. Here comes the frag.
ADS. Yep. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. They eventually displace, at the very least, the shield. Joe wasn't in a position directly as Afro fell back to contest, so that may be an opportunity gone begging. Oh, hello! How's that for a cheeky little cam outside? Literally in the middle of nowhere, you'd never spot that.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Classic. Absolutely classic. Big difference here though, if you guys want to play spot the difference between the two attacks. IG actually have genuine map control. So I'm very curious how this will play with the execute. Seems to play much further into their hands. That being said, there is some very good intel getting gathered from that camera in particular. But IG can do this kind of multi-faceted approach if they want to. They haven't cleared out logistics, but they have found that opening kill.
You can have all the information in the world, but when Speakeasy gives out free haircuts like it's going out of fashion, I don't really know what else you can do. K-Razor's in an incredible position right now to dismantle this attack. Typon may just use him as bait, wait for them to try and make something work, and just like that, Jordan's now caught them in a rock and a hard place. But Invictus, do they have enough to be able to capitalize? Oh my god. Oh, wow, that is not good. However, Shin and Afro, they may be the saviors here. Shin on the flank, 1v3 Raven.
Oh, on the main stairs, he could definitely peek to deny, but his pre-fire gives him away. Hysterics perfectly covering from the corner near Kennels, and Manic, this is IG now on series point.
Not the greatest sign for FAV coming into this. I mean, they were probably the least favoured teams out of APAC North and APAC South to really make it through. But certainly this has been a bit of a display from Invictus, and something that I'm sure Fnatic will be worried about. Now, speaking of that Fnatic match, there was a long pause, a long break. It still hasn't finished. If you are, I mean, you need to bring up both streams right now, because both Invictus and Fnatic are on match point, series point. So it's actually quite a big moment right now for both of these teams.
Would be pretty poetic, you know, if both games kind of just finish at the same time.
Yep.
You know, they're both going to be playing each other. I don't know, I think that'd be really cool. Just a little thing, but yeah. Wait and see whether Invictus can close it out on this round. Interestingly, FAV have gone to cache CCTV. Now let me just double check what it's like in North. Clubhouse. Actually, 57% defensive win rate on cache CCTV, which is pretty decent, because in South, it's 35% defensive rate. It's actually heavily attacker-sided, this one. And that's actually out of 4 extra maps in terms of data, because it's much more often played in APAC South. So that's quite interesting. Don't know whether that indicates that maybe teams like Invictus Gaming are just better at attacking the site, or maybe in general, North teams are really good at defending this site. We're going to find out live right now.
Oh, goodness me. A moment in time that could really determine the fate of FAV, and I guess on the flip side for Q Confirm as well. This is the next 3 minutes here are going to dictate what really happens in the long run. Invictus. How's Shin going to go? All the utility that Invictus could need up for grabs here. And it's open for free. Oh,
Still got a little bit.
was that shut off by Typon or by Speakeasy?
sounded like the MPX to me, so I think it was Typon. But either way, I guess what's important there, I mean, even if the breach went open or not, there was the mirror on it, so they've got the line of sight regardless. Now it's about piecing together the rest of this attack. Do see that number 2 is on quite the roam over near that Kennel's wall, so that could be step number 1, is to try and shut that down. Speakeasy is in fact going to create a run-through for that breach, so that's already a much bigger step ahead than what we saw from FAV's attacks.
Okay, quick update. Fnatic have won their final round. They went flawless on their attack on Coastline, and now we just wait to see if Invictus will join them this round or potentially in the next bloody 3. They are in prime position here, Raven, with 1:10 left on the clock. It feels like Invictus have done enough to slowly and surely gain control of the map once again on their attack.
Yep, they are very close to progressing forward here. This attack is feeling good so far, but there's some pretty critical steps yet to happen. One is K-Razor's position needs to be flushed out. Now some X-Kairos just got denied off that catwalk wall. That is huge, because that would have been the end of K-Razor. He would have had to hit the deck. It's always tough to recover from that, but here he is. He's still here. Typon, though, has been shut down. That's Invictus taking this man advantage. Manic, 40 seconds for them to finish piecing together this execute.
Running short on information. K-Razor gets absolutely deleted once more from Speakeasy, who is putting on again another clinic. Afro falls down out in the open. Number 2. Try and try you may. Invictus have all but successfully taken this map. I'm not going to speak too soon. With 10 seconds left, he could still deny for a default plant, but Invictus aren't playing into his games. This has been a display, a performance from Invictus that we will remember, and they secure their lower bracket run. They now go on to face Fnatic in what could be the penultimate round in determining whether they will make it to the Mexico Major. Unreal.
Really massive effort from Invictus Gaming. I mean, they had a bit of a fight with FAV on Consulate. I mean, it was still a 7-4 victory, but Clubhouse was just theirs through and through. Look at the differences in the scoreboard. Guess who's at the top? It's Speakeasy, 13-3. The man had an absolute banger. Teammates are on fire to back him up. They just looked like they've really started to peak at the right time, and now they're going to have a massive opportunity against their seriously deep, long-term rivals in Fnatic. I actually cannot wait to be able to portray that for you guys, because there is so much depth to that rivalry.
It is such an incredible storyline. You know, unfortunately, we weren't able to check out that IG Fnatic match at the start when it was a best-of-1, but guess what? It's even better. It's a best-of-3. Whoever loses gets knocked out completely. Whoever wins goes on to an opportunity to play either Elevate or Invictus. It's Elevate or Damwon Kia, in that final round of that lower bracket. Raven, that's us done here, the casting desk, and give it back to the very capable hands of Xenox and the crew. Enjoy.
What a matchup. Invictus Gaming too strong for FAV, and obviously, as it has already been touched on, Fnatic too strong for QC. Both 2-0 guys. Dev, you look a little somber for some reason. I don't know why. Is it maybe because one South team's gone home, but one South team continues? Okay, you were ready for dinner.
Yeah. No, it was a good game. Honestly, I mean, I know we want to talk about the on-stream match, but I'll just touch on the off-stream match for a moment. Just crazy result from Q-Confirm and Fnatic. I can't believe that Fnatic did it twice, reverse sweep from 5-1 down, and I'm pretty sure that means that Q-Confirm didn't win a single defensive round in the series, not on Chalet and not on Coastline. That's kind of ridiculous. Yeah. To bring it back to this game though, look, we saw flashes on Consulate of IG being clearly the better team, and I think that was only exacerbated here on Clubhouse, especially a map where I think FAV are going to be punished for the kind of more util miscoordinations that they had, and on their attack, they were really punished for that.
Yeah, Clubhouse is a map that we often talk about quote-unquote mini-games, whether that be opening a specific wall, a specific hatch, clearing a specific shield, which is, you know, 99% of the time what teams will be doing round in, round out. It's well drilled, it's well known, teams expect it, and teams need to be able to execute it. FAV, particularly on their attacks, struggled so many times. I think CCTV Cash is probably the most difficult to watch. They just were struggling so much to open Kennel's wall. They rotated over towards Con every occasion, were forced to just filter in towards the site through the doorway and got melted down. That, of course, is a testament to Invictus. They did a fantastic job in playing those minigames really well, and ultimately it culminated into a very, very dominant victory, and they looked very comfortable on their map here.
Just quickly touching on FAV, obviously we're giving the plaudits to IG, and we will eventually have an interview with them as well. But Dev, you know, their stage has come to an end here in the end. Probably not the most successful playoff run that they would have liked, but some experience at least.
Yeah, it's nice for FAV to finally get back into playoffs after it has been a really long time since they were at this level, since they were one of the best in Japan. Yeah, a bit of a shame that unfortunately it did end like this, but I think that they can still be happy in progression from even 2020 APAC North, which obviously was a different format, but last year they were always kind of sitting 5th and 6th with a couple of good results during the season, but never making playoffs. Stage 1, they ended up, I believe it was 6th place in APAC North, and Stage 2, even making playoffs is a bit of a victory in itself, and not getting first rounded is always nice, so credit to them for what they were able to achieve here, even if their campaign was fairly short-lived.
Yeah, small step up for FAV this stage. It wasn't a giant leap. They still have a long, long way to go, especially if they want to get out of the shadow of their Japanese counterparts in Cyclops. For me, that's the storyline I'm happy to keep running with. That has to be their goal. Try and be the standout team from Japan. FAV have been around for so, so long, and they have always been the bridesmaids from that particular country, or now that particular sub-region of APAC North. So a long way to go for them, but they are showing signs of improvement.
Let's have a quick glimpse of the bracket and see how things are shaping up heading into what is now the very tail end. Only 4 teams remain. Demon, Kia, and Elevate, of course, still in that upper bracket final. That is to be played tomorrow. And we've got one more game today. Invictus now versus Fnatic. I mean, really, they've already played each other, Dev, in that best of 1. But this is where it gets serious. Now in the best of 3, a spot in the lower bracket final up for grabs.
That's it. We said at the start of today, one of these teams will be eliminated. There is no two ways about it. Only one of them will have a chance to go to that Mexico Major, and they're going to have to battle it out. It's going to be a rematch of that upper bracket game, as you mentioned. Fnatic really struggled against Invictus, and I'm sure they're going to be looking for their revenge. We've seen that Fnatic, even when taken down a peg, can always fight back. You know, coming back from 2 5-1 halves against Q-Confirm says that to win 7-5, I think pretty much encapsulates it perfectly. But Invictus, they're hungry. They barely scraped into the playoffs in the first place by taking down Elevate. I know that they don't want to let it stop, as so many of their playoffs campaigns in the past have stopped to the hands of Fnatic.
Wow, I mean, looking at the lower bracket, we haven't actually had a best of 3 series go the full distance yet. Every single result has been 2-0, and if there is any match in this entire playoffs bracket that I thought had the potential to firstly happen, but also secondly go the full distance, it has to be this one. Invictus and Fnatic heading in to this stage have been going through rough patches, particularly as of recent, and their form has not been the best it has been historically. And in terms of the head-to-head, we just know that these two always produce really, really, really good seeds. So if there's a match of the entire bracket that you don't want to miss, it's going to be that one.
Bringing it back to IG's victory over FAV. Let's go and have a chat with Luna Metal off the back of their lower bracket round 2 victory. Congratulations, Luna, on the win. Of course, though, it's only a very short break until your next match against Fnatic.
Yeah, so after the match ended, I wanted to go out and get a drink, and then my teammates started calling me because I forgot about the interview, so I had to rush back. So yeah, let's make this quick so I can get some rest, guys.
All right, we'll keep it quick, Luna. Best of 3 format, how are you feeling heading into the playoffs? Obviously, a bit of a different beast to best of 1s, and it seems to be suiting you guys.
I always prefer the best of 3 format, whether I'm playing it, and even I think with the current state of our map pool, I think we are favored against most teams in the BO3. But again, Fnatic probably has one of the bigger map pools in APAC as well. So BO3s probably have an advantage on both ends, but it's just, I guess, just a better team will win.
Yeah, well, Fnatic Invictus games can be pretty historic. I don't know how many times they knocked you guys out of APAC finals back in the day, and you got your revenge, obviously, way back in Season 10. Is it still that big match? Is it still kind of a bogeyman for you? Is there still that rivalry, or have things changed?
It's there for sure. It's still always there. I think We definitely, I can confidently say that whenever we face each other, there might be additional prep. It's not because of a grudge or whatever. I think it's just a mutual respect that we have for each other as a team, and we are like primary training partners as well. So it's like probably both teams are comfortable against the other team's playstyle, and you need the additional prep in order to have an edge over the other team.
Not going to keep you any longer, Lunar Metal. All I'll say is we'll see you in a few hours.
Yep. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Bit of a cheeky one there. Look, obviously they need a little bit of a break before the next matchup. It's a big one, Dep. No real shame in that, keeping that one a bit short.
Yeah, no, I mean, credit to him. I would also probably want a drink after I just played a best of 3 match in competitive Rainbow Six, and especially with one more coming up and potentially another important one tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. Go freshen up, go do whatever you need to do. I'm sure everyone's got their own routine. For me, I'm all about keeping hydrated, having some food in my belly, and being ready to rock.
Wouldn't be surprised if we just see Dev run off in the next 5 seconds to go finish his dinner, because apparently you didn't get to finish cooking it before, so that was unfortunate. But yeah, the excitement levels heading into this best of 3 are just crazy. It's almost like a Christmas in July moment. This is the matchup I think that so many people wanted, and we get to deliver it. So very excited.
I think we can all do with a little bit of a breather and a break heading into this one. When we do come back, though, it is one for the ages. Invictus Gaming versus Fnatic.